What are we gonna do?
Grim. That's how it looks.
I'll take Grim right now.
I am the Grim Reaper.
Bit grim.
Grim bosses are good.
And make it grim.
A grim tale indeed.
It's a little grim. Meaningless and grim. It's the grim.
It's Grim.
Pretty grim, huh?
Things look grim.
Hello all. I can't get my camera height right for some reason. So tonight we're playing Dragonbane, which I bought the boxed set of, which may not have been a fantastic idea because it's a flimsy paperback book, which hopefully won't need too much reference while we play, but it did come with a lot of other cool stuff which we can't use on stream, like initiative cards and treasure cards and things, which are, like I say, hard to use on stream. As you may note from the cover, it has ducks in it, and that's because Dragonbane, which is a big RPG in Sweden, has heritage in RuneQuest rather than D&D. And as you may recall, the ducks are a race in RuneQuest. Here they're called mallards, probably for copyright reasons. But yeah, they're not as lame and stupid as you as you might think, though most people have avoided choosing one to play, despite me providing 3 whole mallard characters. So let's bring the players in. Evening all.
Evening.
Good evening.
So, I'll give an info dump. I know exposition is a terrible way to start anything, but that's how we're going. So, nestled on the fringes of the Stormus Bog is the inexplicable town of Krickaborg. Many fortresses were built on the edge of the swamp where the town now stands. Over the centuries that there has been settlement here, Carr Fort, Trask Castle, and Fortress Mere, to name just the 3 that everyone knows and remembers, and many more besides. Most of them have at one point or another been besieged, destroyed, fallen over, and sunk into the swamp. These days, Krickaborg, in more peaceful times, is a free port, if you can call such a shallow swampland water. Or, if you're more land-oriented, it's a market town. It all depends who you ask, really. But it's brooded over by the elderly despot of a mayor, who rules over the whole thing, from the latest fortress to preside over the town, Smutsanka Manor, owned by Snorliup Smutsanka, who is the owner, mayor, and dictator for life of Krickaborg as a whole, bought with his fantastic wealth. The man, or more accurately Mallard, is a penny-pinching miser whose greed is so out of control that silver is rare here and gold is virtually absent because he just sucks it all up eventually via taxes and tariffs and things. So that forces most transactions in the town to be made either in barter to avoid his swinging trade tariffs, or copper coins, which is heavy and dreadfully inconvenient. Krickaborg itself is a quaint and crowded little town, primarily inhabited by mallards, who take up most of the solid ground created by piers and collapsed former fortresses, as well as a handful of muddy islands that rise from the mire in the Stormos close to the town. Their part of the town is stone-built and daub-plastered, quite cosy little cottages thatched with reeds, which, if not for the damp of the swamp, would be a considerable fire hazard and has been in the past, responsible for at least a couple of the fortresses collapsing. One dry summer, everything goes up. With so many low clustered buildings burning so much damp peat for fuel, the air for big folk, anyone taller than about 5 feet, is less oxygen and more wet smoke. There's also a distillery in town, so the whole place smells a bit like high fiber cereal. The town itself is well inhabited by little folk, halflings, dwarves, mallards, goblins, and frog people, while the fringes, where the houses are built on stilts out over the swamp itself, that's where the big folk are largely banished to out of necessity. Crickerborg serves the mallard villages of the swamps and those of the frog people, and it has a market every week on washing day. And these are an exotic and interesting affair for outsiders. And it's also when everyone does their laundry, so the whole town is festooned in people's clothing, garments, which again for big folk is inconvenient because if it's strung across the alleys, that's at roughly waist height for anyone tall. There are several inns for the small folk, but serving big and small folk alike, there is only the Yatterfoten pub, the Inn of the Giant's Foot, nestled against the broken-off stump of an ancient giant statue's leg from some past fortress or other. That place, at least, has high ceilings where you don't have to hunch over or bump your head, and it has tall chimneys so it's not vomiting smoke out into your face, and it has some small measure of hospitality. It's run by Dunder, an old crack-billed mallard who runs the place, and he has his own reasons to hate Snorlyhope. Mostly the taxes. So he's agreed to allow your little cast of plotters to meet in one of his private rooms to scheme and figure out your act of infamy against the mayor. Over a platter of frog's legs, bowls of marsh mutton stew, tankards of small beer, and bottles of Stormos whiskey, you draw up your plans. So if you would care to first introduce your characters to each other and to whatever audience we've managed to garner, starting with Kronk and working left to right, top to bottom. So, who's Kronk?
Kronk is an elementalist, a spellcaster, a bit of a curmudgeon. His wife, Grunfil, I can't pronounce that, I'm sorry.
Goodwiff.
Goodwiff. He thinks is always wrong, but he loves her dearly. And he's not exactly sure why he would go against the mayor at the moment, but it's got to be a good reason since Goodwiff thinks he shouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. And Dunder hired you two as mercenaries and gave you a small purse of silver coins to help out. So for whatever reason, Goodwiff maybe has eaten too many frog's legs and is laid up in bed with the galloping shit. So she can't actually join you on the adventure. So you're stuck doing it yourself. All right. So introduce us to Artem, please.
Artem Bogwalker is a sort of a small game hunter. He lost his good dog Poochie the first while he was passed out drunk, and Snallowhop's orcish mercenaries ate him. He's sworn John Wick. And he's got a new dog, Poochie 2 the Barbet.
Yeah, so you have your reasons to hate him.
Stole my boat too.
Yes, killed your dog and stole your boat. So revenge, revengy. All right, and would you introduce us to Ludwig, please?
Ludwig? I am Ludwig Snapfinger Drake. I am the greatest of thieves in this little burg, Crickerborg. And the draconian policies, death by drowning. A number of my guildsmen have disappeared this way, have found the end of their lives just due to petty crimes. So I want revenge. Pay back the bitch. And I know there's a fortune out there in the swamps.
Somewhere to be found. Yeah, it's hard being the head of the Thieves Guild in a town this draconian and where practically every penny seems to be tracked by the mayor. So yeah, so it's Snorlyop. He's very much your bitter enemy and has been for years. All right. Introduce us to Pathfinder, please.
Pathfinder is really just his nickname, but Wild is his actual name. He's a wolfkin who really doesn't like people very much. Lots of ancient slights against wolfkin have made him very averse to hanging around civilized folk very much, so he spends most of his time out hunting in the wild with his wolf companion. But circumstances have forced him to join others in order to help out, get a little bit of money, and maybe set some wrong things to right. But he's really not interested in being friends with anybody.
What's your wolf called?
Wolf.
I was going to say, see how you like it, having to name things abruptly on the fly, and you just... All right.
I call that a dodge.
And would you introduce us to Hugo, please?
Hugo, his orange legs thwapping against the floorboards, comes in with that sort of strange orange gimlet eye that ducks have, casts about him, laughs mirthlessly. Quack, 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 quack. Oh, aren't we discreet? A cur, a lizard, and 2 apes. This is going to go well. He's he is tatty, and despite his best efforts to hide it, red dye does not come cheap. But this is now, the way that very old velvet tends to go a bit sort of yellow and crinkly after a while. Yeah, that's his clothing, is that scattered with sort of dried lumps of duckweed and other bits of food dotted down him. He has a habit of he has a hagstone, a kind of stone with a hole in it, which he seems to think is some kind of magic item. He will kind of use it to kind of peer, to do a Paddington hard stare through people, evidently thinking it's going to have some effect. He's known to be a merchant, more persistent than talented.
You never got your break entirely because of the mayor, and it's nothing to do with your own failings or lack.
Read the small print, they said. No.
All right. So, Dunder brings up some more small beer and another bottle of whiskey once you've all got settled, and a bowl of marshweed for the mallards amongst you. And then just nods knowingly to each of you and closes the door. So, on each of your character sheets, there are things that your characters know, which may influence whatever plan you decide to come up with. So, start scheming. And feel free to ask me other questions about the town and things, because you're all local.
Is Ludwig widely known to be the head of the Thieves Guild?
No.
No.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I won't start with him then.
Yeah. He's probably known to be a little bit dodgy,
He's the guy you
What
talk
yourself,
to
or
when you
Nick.
need something that is otherwise difficult to find.
Yeah, you probably view him as another merchant.
Look, we know why we're here, so let's not pretend otherwise. We're being squeezed. We need to squeeze back.
Now, does he have a vault anywhere?
No,
It's in the swamp.
he doesn't have a vault. He has a fortress way out in the swamp. That's what my intelligence tells me.
Everyone
He's
knows
got
the rumor that he has a secret hidden money vault somewhere out in the swamp. But various of you know different amounts about different things.
Does he have an advisor of some sort?
He plays things very close to his chest. You don't see the mayor out and about very often.
Look, some of us are a little more observant than others, obviously. And though no one knows exactly where the money's sent, it goes out under guard once a week after market day. If you pay attention to his patterns, you'll notice this is what's happening.
So that would be the best time to hit the cart wherever he's bringing his payment.
Hit the cart. No, you follow to see where the money goes.
He has to be distributing it somehow, and it's got to come out of his fortress.
No, it's going the other direction. Any money that comes into the city is put together, put on a swamp donkey mule train, and out it goes into the swamp. Nobody knows where the destination is. That is what we need to discover.
Grim.
Yes.
My character gets pot shotted at frequently by the mayor's thugs, right?
Yeah.
Is there like a specific location that they're usually hanging around that they're trying to keep me out of? Or?
So his orc guards range around quite a bit. He doesn't pay them particularly well, so they go out into the swamps to hunt and supplement their diet. And being orcs, they're not too fussy about what they eat, whether it's frogs, toads, or sentient beings that have mastered writing and literature. So you do run into them all sorts of places, but 1 second. If you would care to make, I think a bushcraft roll would be the best thing.
All right.
That any of us, or just Pathfinder?
Just Pathfinder, because he's the one thinking about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So D20 under.
Yeah.
You didn't take the bushcraft skill, did you?
No, I did. I have bushcraft for 12. Thank you very much. I got a dragon.
Now that's good. That's
dragon is a 1.
Yes.
Dragon is a 1. Demon is a 20.
Yes. Okay. You push aside the bowls of food and dip one furry finger into the pot of cooling gravy and use it to quickly sketch out a map of the swamp on the tabletop. You're fairly sure you've run into them more and more often in the Spiderwood, close to the geographical center of the swamp. There are a few more islands there that would make a bit more sense as a place to build any sort of vault or fortress, but most people don't go there because of the big spiders.
So,
after making my mark, I'll just kind of look at everybody else.
Pathfinder, how well do you know this area? Because I have more information.
I've hunted it before, but most people stay out of there because of the spiders. But that's about where they're hitting me all the time.
I recently had a companion, a friend, a young gentlefolk who was a companion in arms, as it were, one of my more reliable folk who let me know before he died that he knew where the money pit was. The only problem is, like I said, he died. And these were the clues that were left behind. His body was covered in spider bites. And in his hand, He had marsh marigold petals, orange colored.
I know about where those grow, don't I, Grim?
Yep, that clinches it for you. It must be in the Spiderwood, in the center of the swamps, because that's the only place the orange marsh marigolds grow.
Yep. Definitely in the center, then. That's where they grow. And the spiders make a perfect guard for that stuff, although how he gets past them, I don't know.
Well, the question is, how does a mule train get there? And where is a strong, sturdy path that is reliable from here to that spot? So I also have bushcraft, how, as well as myths and legends as skills. Would those be appropriate to help narrow down?
Yeah, you can make a bushcraft roll as well. So D20 equal to or under that skill.
Under
Underpants.
Captain. Okay, that was a 3. I need a 10. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar now, I think, with what I'm looking at here.
Well, the local breed of mules and donkeys called swamp donkeys, they're pretty adapted. They've got much broader hooves, and they cope with the damp a lot better. They've got thick, shaggy fur. You wouldn't have to stick necessarily to the hardiest paths, and the water never really gets much deeper than someone's throat. But if they're taking treasure, you're fairly sure you know which way they'd have to wend up to a point, but everyone does keep away from the spiders. Right. So once you hit the edge of the spiderwood, from there you don't really know which way they go. But you've got a fairly good idea of a probable path. And these orcs that he's brought in, that he's outsourced all the guarding duty for, they're pretty lazy and shiftless, so they're not going to do anything clever like changing the route. They're just going to follow the well-worn path, you reckon?
Mm-hmm. So that's what we'll have to be looking for, indications of these passages of mules. They probably leave some bits of hair behind. These orcs will probably just blunder around and create a big wide path. So perhaps those folks who are better at bushcraft than I could help us find a way there.
I do hunt in the spider territory on occasion. Maybe I can find something.
Sure, we can find it. You got 2 hunters, so.
But my concern is if these are monster spider infested. I mean, this was not an incompetent compatriot of mine. This person was skilled in evasion and more than capable of defending themselves, and yet
one guy against a bunch of spiders and orcs.
Well, he didn't have weapon wounds. He had spider bites. So how do we prevent the same fate?
And how do the orcs not get eaten, other than being less appetizing?
Are there any myths or legends about spider repellent?
Yeah, there might be an alchemist in town. You could get to put something together.
If all else fails, torches seem to be fairly good spider repellent.
Well,
in a swamp, though, it's easy to drop those.
I have no practical skill in that, so I'll take your word for it. But I prefer to be a little more prepared than, torches in a wet swamp.
All right, let's find ourselves an alchemist.
Well, before we do that, I mean, though between the two, shall we say, more aware of some of the darker sides of the world, what other input do we have? I mean, I'm a little confused about Hugo's presence, to be honest.
I think he means say something, duck.
I've got just as good a reason to be here as any of you.
Having a hate on is one thing. Being capable of following through with it is different.
Well, as you see, he says, pulling at his tatty clothes, I'm at least motivated. Let's put it that way.
So, what are you motivated to bring to the table?
Reaches into his scrappy little tatty yellowing linen shirt at his breastbone, hauls out his little leather thong through which is dangling his little hagstone. I've got this.
Yeah, we all know that. Excellent.
But you know what it actually does?
What does it actually do?
It sniffs out gold.
Okay, and what does it smell like?
Sweet.
And so, can it sniff out anything besides gold?
Get me close enough to that vault. What else do you need? I mean, you could blunder around with your, no doubt, superlative tracking skills, getting bit by spiders, or we could just follow the most direct route, as indicated by my little stone here. But no, you're maybe you're right. Maybe I'll, maybe I'm useless.
Well, maybe you are, but I'm concerned about the utility of the stone and depending upon that.
Well,
You could always test it.
Well, I was considering that, right? But lo and behold, the only gold I have is a golden-haired wig. I do not have any gold. So my guess is gold's pretty hard to come by right now. So it's a little difficult to put this theory to the test.
Well, so Hugo, you've probably run into this issue before convincing people. It doesn't have to be gold. It just has to be the richest nearby treasure. So you could take 3 cups, hide a silver coin under them, and you should be able to pick out which one has the coin every time, provided that's the most expensive treasure nearby.
That seems eminently reasonable. So this is what I will suggest. I'll tell you what, I'll even go out of the room.
Well, interesting. Let's try this. You go ahead and go out of the room.
Flops down off the wooden bench, thwaps his way across. Uses his bill, because this is primarily a mallard. I mean, it is kind of speciesist establishment, but I'm presuming it's kind of set up for mallards. So I'm guessing there's kind of like a wooden hole that you can stick your beak in to pull the door open or something.
Yeah.
So
you do have arms.
Oh well, that sort of defeats the whole purpose. But okay, fair enough. Okay, so yeah, I will waddle out and close the door behind me.
Would you say that was no ducking fun?
Brum, bum, bum.
Wait till you get the bill.
Oh,
We caught him
So-
flat-footed with that joke.
so now that he's out of the room, I'm going to take 5 silver and I'm going to put 1 under a cup and 2 empty cups, and I'm going to take 4 silver and put them in a slightly out of the way but close enough to be part of the immediate area, so that he has a 1 in 3 chance of guessing at the cup, but in actuality, if this thing really works, he should be looking for the 4 somewhere.
So, the bowls are quite big and slightly raised. You can slide the coins under the bowl nearby where the cups are, and then you skid them around
Mm-hmm.
and call him back in. So yeah,
Bueno.
Hugo swaggers back in. Do you want to be theatrical about figuring it out? Or,
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm going to pick up. I'm going to hold this stone up to my beady little yellow and brown eye, and I'm going to sort of, wander around as a sort of Tommy Cooper-esque routine, flapping up and down and sort of moving about. I have to spend my 3 willpower, of course, for the effect. I don't know whether there's a roll associated with that. I hope not, or else this could be a real
roll.
short adventure. I will do that sort of magician's thing of sort of, I will go up to the cups and sort of rest my arm on each one. Maybe, go back to the one with the most money on it. Then turn and look at Ludwig. Nice try, Greenskin. Waddle over to where the silver is concealed and reveal it.
All right, you lift up the bowl and reveal the 4 coins. Ta-da!
I snatch him back real quick. I don't trust this guy.
I should just point out though that Ludwig is actually another duck, but maybe he's slightly mangy, which is why you keep mistaking him for a lizard.
Oh, I just assumed Drake, Draco, blah blah blah. Right, okay, fair enough.
That's fine. Yeah, he found the silver.
Okay.
Are you sure that works? That should have pointed to the most silver in the room.
Is there more than 4 silver in the room in one spot?
Pocket.
That's
More
the
in my
question, isn't it?
There's more in my pocket.
Always
Well,
a good idea to announce that into a crowded bar.
As I say, retcon then, because the effect, as stated, is it determines where the most treasure is hidden.
Yeah, so you point at Kronk's purse hanging at his side with however many silver he has in there. I think it's 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any advance on 10 before we get any further? Check your inventories now.
No.
Okay. Well, that's impressive and helpful. I scoop up my 5 silver pieces and put them back in my thin little pouch.
Yeah, you're the only thief here, so no one else took them.
I'm an entrepreneur, not a thief. Okay, well, so what other helpful tidbits should we be revealing before we think about how to get our revenge?
So we can find the money, but we're going to have to get past his orc guards. I can handle myself with a bow and a knife. What about the rest of you?
That's part of it. I mean, all heists tend to require avoiding guards and overcoming traps. Those are pretty standard. So who here is the appropriate anti-guard?
I can be evasive if needed. But if any guards corner us, I'm not averse to using lethal force.
They're orcs. Nobody's gonna miss them if they die.
They took my dog. And my
I hear
boat.
you. So probably maybe we should try to get your boat back, and that'll help us escape at the end.
Could be. I have no idea where it went.
Well, that's not helpful either. Okay.
Maybe we
That's it?
should scout out his fortress first. Perhaps
Well-
they've got some kind of dock.
We have to find it. I mean, that's part of part one, right? Find the fortress.
And of course, I defer to the what was the word? I defer to the entrepreneurs amongst us. But in my limited experience, my understanding is that the point of a vault is that it has some kind of, I don't know, lock. Any of us mildly capable of bypassing such a thing?
Well, look, there's many ways to bypass and get around barriers to success. Let's just understand we all bring important skill sets to this caper.
Me and Bogwalker actually seem to be using identical skill sets, but that shouldn't be a problem.
Redundancy.
Similar.
It's very important.
Well,
Any luck,
it
the two of
just
us can
means
hunt them
that
down
we-
and kill them quick.
Well, we concentrate on the non-killing, avoiding being killed option. 'Cause that-
Why? They wouldn't
you know,
hesitate to kill us.
That is out there. It's not like we have to. Understood. But again, the option is still out there. It's not that we have to kill everything. We're allowed to do otherwise, as long as we succeed in cleaning out this treasure chest, this money pit. We need
I need to take a quick
get
bio
what?
break.
Revenge.
I will be right back. Finalize your
Aye,
plans.
So, that said, who's got a plan for once we discover the money pit?
It's a little hard to plan when you don't have any logistics on what you're running into.
So if they've got a dock, my boat should be there. We can use that to escape. Getting to the vault, that's the hard part.
We don't know anything about how big this place is, or how many guards, or what it's surrounded by, or what the terrain looks like, or anything. So,
Well, but we know what our skill sets are, what we are and aren't capable of. So why don't we start with what tools and skills we have available, and then we can at least think about how to address kind of that standard plan of action.
I got a knife and a sling.
You know, you're
ain't
not going
much.
to march up there and knock on the door and say, Avon calling.
All right.
Who's Avon? Is that a girlfriend or something?
It's this weird cult of people who paint their face and try to get you to join. I don't understand it, but
Humans.
they
are
will
weird.
come calling.
Yeah, this Vector guy's tried to sell me new knives. I already like what I got.
Those are actually good quality knife, oddly enough.
Yeah, but they want you to sell them.
Oh, well, that's a whole different issue. Yeah. Well, what does Kronk bring to the table?
I take it I'm the only one here who casts spells.
I thought Hugo could cast
I was
spells
going to
as well.
say Hugo seemed to be intimating something along that way, to be honest.
I don't think he's casting a spell. I think he's playing with an object.
Oh yeah, no. Let me be perfectly clear, gentlemen. Perfectly clear. I am not in any way a thaumaturge, a prestidigitator, or in anything of that ilk or magnitude.
So again, it leaves me as your only spellcaster.
Apparently. Well, there's
So what can you do? Make us disappear?
No, I can shatter a lock or burn a place down. Useful.
Shattering a lock. That'll come in handy.
That sounds extremely useful.
burning things down actually can get you a bigger return on insurance than blowing up a lock.
What's insurance?
Oh, well, that's where you pay me a monthly premium so that your business stays open and doesn't have any fires unexpectedly. And then that way, when one does happen, you will get enough money back to start a new business or a new life, depending on the situation and the contracts involved.
I'm a hunter. I don't have a storefront or anything. I'm not worried unless the forest burns down.
Hugo coughs and splutters at the mention of the word contract. Bullshit.
Well,
Hugo is dressed like a member of the Spanish Inquisition, by the way. I think it's cute.
I think he looks more like that Renaissance painting of the guy going.
I used to know who that was. I've only seen 2 of his pieces, but I used to know who that was. I can't remember.
It was copied by a late 19th century magician, wasn't it? He copied with the turban and the kind of the 2 hands kind of in front of him. He was used as a publicity poster at the Egyptian Hall or something, I think. Anyway, well, Hugo reaches down down to next to him and picks up a little tiny house spider by one leg, wriggling and sort of skittering between his little fingers. What about these? Or rather, their more substantial cousins, he says, putting the spider on the table to let it crawl off.
That's where we need to find an antidote before we leave.
I'm sure Bogwalker and I could probably hunt them all down, but it would take a while.
If we're not using torches to smoke them out, then that repellent seems like the best idea.
And you could probably score some anti-venom, because people here have to deal with these spiders fairly often. So.
Excellent.
Maybe we could just grab some of the orcs and throw them at them.
Again, as I recall, we keep drifting to this confrontation part, and I like to remind you that there are options that do not involve our bodily harm. We should keep those in mind.
I'm not really interested in being friends with them or anything afterward, so...
All I know is if they catch us, best option is put them down.
Yep.
Well, look, we are all pragmatic beings here. So we all understand nobody wants to get taken prisoner and be accused of theft because, they drowned you for stealing an apple. So, what do you think's going to happen if we're caught trying to pull a heist on the entire treasure chest?
I don't care. As long as I get to put a thumb in that duck's eye over it.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So let's find the local chemist, alchemist, apothecary, and get us the appropriate repellents and antivenoms. I'm dubious of repellents, to be completely honest.
Okay. So prep time then. So you're looking for antivenom and potentially insect repellent. Okay.
Must not say arachnid repellent.
Bug repellent then. Yeah. Repels anything with an exoskeleton. All
Okay.
right. So
Guy assured me that this black flag thing will work. I just wave the black flag at the spiders and they'll go away, right?
All right. So you leave the inn. Dunder nods conspiratorially to you and wishes you good luck. You head out from the outskirts of town, heading inwards to where the streets are still filthy, but at least they're cobbled. And the houses gradually get shorter and shorter until the smokestacks billowing smoke into the tall folks' faces. So that's Pathfinder and Artim. Your eyes are watering. Eventually, you find the alchemist's store, run by a peculiar fellow named Quonk. It's got.
Is he a duck?
He is a duck.
Okay, you have to do James Hong voice when you do this. Okay?
Yeah, that'll get me cancelled.
You come to buy some stuff from Hong?
Quonk, not Hong.
Quonk.
All right. So
I have very good portion for you.
You open the little oval door and head in. Despite the presence of windows, it is very dark in here because they're all covered in smoke. There are multiple fireplaces. There are cauldrons bobbling away and alembics and test tubes and all manner of herbs and things dangling from the ceiling and strange things pickled in jars looking at you. Quonk looks up from where he's boiling some mercury and squints at you. Welcome to Quonk's Emporium. What can I get you?
Well, we are interested in spider repellent.
Spider repellent?
Does this thing even exist?
Yeah, some say you can repel spiders with horse chestnut. I'm not so sure. Personally, I find a hammer does the trick. But I could put something together, yes, out of my herbs and chemicals.
Mm-hmm. And what is it you're going to put together exactly?
It's science. You wouldn't understand.
And what about antivenom?
Antivenom. Yes, plenty of that. Lots of snakes and poisonous toads and spiders and things out there. Big spiders, yes. Large.
Probably gonna open one of the pickle jars and sniff just to see. Think your pickles are off.
You can hear Mauve for a second.
Yeesh.
You probably shouldn't have done that, especially with your sensitive nose.
Nope.
It burns. Ah, yes, very good. You want that?
Definitely not.
No.
Although, if I ever want to see the color mauve or hear the color mauve, I know what it sounds like now.
Yes, quite. So antivenom. Yes, this I can do. How many doses would you like?
Well, it
How
would be
much?
nice to have one for each of us, wouldn't you think? I would think we would need 5.
One for each of you, so 10 doses. Yes.
That sounds like 2 for
Excuse
each of
me?
us.
He adjusts his little pince-nez spectacles. Ah, yes. Sorry. 5 of you. 5 doses. That would be the tariffs. Takes out an abacus. Seems to be very complicated. And then finally, he arrives at a total of 5 gold pieces.
Well, now we all know that's an insane thing to say. You must be out of your mind to have said something like that.
Taxes,
I'm guessing you meant something completely different.
taxes, tariffs, high demand. I can only bring the price down so far.
So take a good look. Take a good look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Remember this face. I know you've seen it before. So what do you need instead?
Yes, Barter would avoid.
I thought you were going to do the. I thought you were going to do the whole. Look at me now. Look at yourself now. Quickly look back at me. What do you see?
Bottles. Yes. Glass bottles. Many glass bottles. I go through cauldrons and bottles at a very high and fast rate. So if we were to say perhaps 5 good quality glass bottles.
Okay. That sounds more like it. So, let's see what I'm looking at my skills here. What do I know? Do I know where I'm going to find 5 good quality bottles?
Make a barter roll. That's the closest to sort of general mercantile skill, I think.
I'm sorry, what kind?
Barter, I think it's called.
Okay, so I have not seeing barter because, of course,
maybe it's something else.
Though I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not, right? So I have bluffing, I have evade, I've got myth and legends, awareness.
Yeah, bartering, charisma-based skill. Well, someone else could make the roll if they want to figure out where you can get these things.
Slap the dwarf on the ass.
Hey, buddy. Anybody know where we can get some good quality glass bottles? That way, we avoid putting money into our mutual friend's pocket that we're looking to address anyway.
I'm sure there's a glassworks in town.
No, you're missing the point. So if we go to the glassworks, they're going to charge us an exorbitant amount of money which then puts money into our mutual friend's pocket again. The goal is to know where there are some glass bottles that maybe fell off a truck or are about to fall off a truck.
Let me get this right. We're gonna heist a bunch of glass bottles so we can get potions so we can go heist a treasure in the swamps.
Correct. You figured it out in one.
Somebody play the Snatch theme.
Very cool, bro.
Hugo is idly staring out of one of the small, dirty windows and notices the sort of clack and rattle of a large distillery wagon walking past with such and such as distillery blazoned on the side. I will roll my bartering just to see whether this actually rings any bells in his brain.
Yes.
Which is a 2 under 14, so yes, apparently it does.
Yes. So the distillery primarily makes use of clay bottles and jars, but their special reserve does indeed get put into glass bottles. And that gets moved around from the distillery, or there are probably quite a lot of them in the distillery. There isn't actually a glassworks here, so they have to import them from elsewhere or reuse the bottles. The more upmarket Mallard taverns in town might have the more expensive whiskey that might be in the appropriate glass bottles. Or you could try and heist one of the wagons, or you could try and break into the distillery.
Well, what I was thinking is if there's a wagon going by, it probably has both full and empty. And I was just going to do one of those casual walk by, slip. Oh, look at these things found their way into my pocket and, into the pocket of my friend standing next to me and into the pocket of my friend standing behind me. And off we go.
Is Hugo going to share his amazing revelatory insight?
Well, he will. He'll sort of. He will sort of. It's taking him a second to put this together. So I'm imagining like there's a window, then a door, then another window, and the dray is kind of going past from one to the other. So he looks out of the first window, turns, looks at everybody, pauses for a second, and then rushes to the other window.
Okay. Wild actually has an idea. He'll pull Artrim over to one side. So I have an idea. Why don't we just go to one of these fancy schmancy places where they probably get rid of stuff like this all the time and just say, in our most humble voice, "Hello, we are here collecting for the bottle drives. Can we please have your glass bottles?"
Either that, or we could have Hugo go and run interference for us while we just fill our pockets.
Well, that would require us to break into a mansion full of, who knows.
Oddly enough, I can supply a distraction.
While you're arguing, the distillery cart slowly rattles further and further away down the cobblestones.
All right. Well, we're wasting our time here. So let's go and take a stroll by the cart going by and see if we can slip a couple bottles into our pockets. And then if not, we'll continue on with plan B, and we will continue with various plans until otherwise.
All right. So is anyone running any kind of interference so Ludwig can snaffle some bottles of booze?
All right.
Wait, yes.
On the cart?
Have a perfect one.
Yeah, off the cart.
Yeah, I'll get my wool companion. Hey boy, go harass those horses.
And I'm going to use my sneaking skill to just be unobvious. Like, you're not looking at me, you're looking at something else.
Oh, he's definitely going to be looking at the horses because there's a wolf that's about to fuck with his horses. So.
And I just rolled a 1 on my
damn
sneaking.
Nice. So
real the dragon.
we're confident, are we, that when the wolf starts snarling at these horses, their reaction is not going to be bolt at maximum speed?
No.
Nothing is certain.
It's pretty tight quarters. All right, so you head out. Some of you holding back a bit to keep watch. The wolf, running ahead, sprints in front of the donkeys that are pulling the little cart and starts growling and snarling and snapping at their legs. They rear up and start kicking their hooves out in all directions, breaking a window, knocking a few bricks out of one of the little houses. And while all that's
Donkeys
going
will
on,
fuck a wolf up, just so you know.
Not my wolf.
he's a smart wolf. And and while they're distracted and everyone else is distracted trying to calm the donkeys and wondering what a wolf is doing in town, Ludwig casually walks past the rear of the cart and somehow manages to hide 5 full bottles of whiskey on his person. He must have a lot of pockets in that cloak.
Yep. Deep pockets. Well padded, deep pockets.
And you're able to then return quickly to the alchemists and present him with the 5 bottles.
Oh no, wait. I gotta find some place. I can't waste this whiskey. So now I need to find some place to put the whiskey so I'll have empty bottles.
Well, in our stomachs, that's the obvious answer.
No. That's
1 bottle each.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Just give him to the dwarf. He can drink all 5 of them and still be standing.
So how do we make a buck on this real quick? There's got to be a bar that someone of my caliber is a well-known quantity.
How about the one we were just at?
You could, you could return it to Dunder. He'd take the whiskey off your hands
and just give me the bottles back.
Yeah,
right. That's what we'll do. We'll find out how much. What is he willing to trade for such a fine opportunity? Because we don't want any money to transact and put more money into the coffers of our mutual friend.
He'll give you a day's worth of dried meat rations each for your trip into the swamp.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
In exchange for the whiskey, so you can each add a day's worth of rations to your sheet. Though I don't think you can edit it, so just note it down somewhere.
I can edit mine.
Comes up.
Well, since mine says 000, that's helpful.
That means 3.
Oh,
so you would cross one off or delete it.
Gotcha. I thought it meant I had none.
Oh, the old Whitechester ambivalence raises its ugly head again.
Yes, it does.
Bunch of thickos.
Seriously, did people try to call you out? Hey, why does all these descriptions have zeros next to them?
Yes, that happened on 3 separate occasions.
Yep. I looked and went, wow, I have no food. Huh. Okay.
Yes, 3 zeros of food.
Mm-hmm. Well, that meant 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
3 zeros in a row means 0 food.
Yeah. The other thing was when I'm editing things, I listen back to them using text to speech. And so when it was going through those sections, it was saying things like apples.
Oh, that's okay. That's
oh my God.
So, yeah. So that made things difficult.
All right.
Desiccated zombies. Ooh.
Grim, in the background, I'm putting together some miniatures with a knife in my hand, and you just about had me go through my palm.
Sorry.
Well, you shouldn't be doing that during the game.
Yeah, so you pour 5 bottles of whiskey into a bucket for Dunder. He gives you a bunch of rations and puts a lid on the bucket so it doesn't all evaporate. You return to Quonk, the alchemist. He's very pleased with the bottles. Yeah, I see you've even cleaned them with alcohol. Good. There'll be no contamination. Excellent. Well done. Now, was it the repellent or the anti-venom?
Both.
Both.
Yes, that sounds plausible.
Well, if the repellent doesn't work, we'll need the anti-venom.
Correct.
He rummages around and returns with 5 little stoppered bottles, very, very small, made of clay. Now, these are the anti-venoms, and these little pots of goo, that is your repellent. Don't get them mixed up. Very important.
Okay.
And
Now, what do we do with the pot of goo?
You wipe it all over yourself.
All right. I'm really afraid to do this, but
you may feel a slight numbness in your extremities, but as long as you don't eat any, it'll be fine.
What does it smell like?
It smells
Purple.
like... does it smell like? It smells like urine that's been left out in a bucket for a couple of days.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be something like that. Okay.
Artem.
So,
Artem.
huh.
Okay, Mike.
You, Artem, right?
Yeah, you're Artem. Do you
Well,
want to
you were
call you
saying
John Wick?
No, that's fine. I thought you were saying our turn.
No. Your bushcraft roll is higher than mine.
Yep.
So I just want to direct your attention over to the private chat where I have dropped something very interesting that you can do with bushcraft.
Well, that's silly.
It's not silly if you could you could pick up a damn snake and throw it at somebody.
Just need a bandolier of throwing snakes.
I can
Yeah.
put it on my arrow.
Take that to its logical conclusion here.
Well, I mean, I'm looking through all the improvised weapons, and it is my goal in this game to use every single improvised weapon at least once.
Okay.
Maybe you can grab a snake, stiffen it like Serpentor did, and then hurl it like a spear.
Yeah, or like
shoot it with
Thulsa
an
Doom.
arrow with a bow.
Yeah, that was Tulsa.
So, I'm, of course, mildly dubious of this repellent. So, what I'm thinking is, like, if I could get a couple sticks and create a pole with a little cross arm near the top, and get an old blanket and use that as a medium by which I put this rancid shit on, and then just carry that above my head.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah. You're pretty sure this stuff is a universal repellent, not just bugs.
Yeah.
I mean, the way it smells, it might even repel arrows. So,
woo,
or at least slow them down.
Create some miasma around us.
Yeah, it's the kind of smell you can chew and then spit into a bucket.
Okay.
All right. Well, so the question then we have now is, do you wait for one of the mule trains to leave and follow it, or do you try and make your way through the swamps and find the place by yourselves by following a trail, which will be slightly less than a week old at this point?
Well, it's sort of up to those with woodcraft who could lead us or not.
Well, I thought Atrum knew where the spot was they would enter into the spider forest And it was once we got into the spider forest that we were going to have to like seriously bushcraft.
So I know my way around the spider forest. I don't know where this fortress is, as far as I
No,
can
no,
tell.
no, not where the fortress is. Where you have observed these trails go, these mule trains going into the forest. Though
I can probably find a couple trails.
If you can find a trail, I have my hunting instincts ability that I can use to basically designate a creature and catch his scent and then keep following him, because that's what Wolfkin can do.
But do you actually have to encounter the specific donkey to track it, or can you just track a generic donkey?
The ability reads, you can use this ability to designate a creature in sight, comma, or a creature you can catch the scent of as your prey. This counts as an action in combat. You can follow the scent of your prey for a full day, and you can spend one further will point to gain a boon for an attack against your prey.
I'm sure the orcs.
That sounds like a grim adjudication on timing, etc.
Well, so I think species probably have their own smell, and then individuals have their own smell. So you could probably go and sniff a donkey or a mule, and then follow a mule trail, or sniff an orc and follow its trail through the swamp.
And I'm sure they left some kind of refuse on the way back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there'll be donkey shit to follow as well.
Donkey shit, darling, donkey shit.
All right. Well, it sounds like we're bushwhacking, man.
All right. So...
So, setting question, are we used to, in some of our cases, web-footing it, hoofing it, or do we have conveyances and other life forms that we use to move us around?
I believe Hugo has a cart and a donkey.
He does.
Yeah.
And that's a swamp donkey, right? So it can go wherever donkey. We're headed.
Wild is a woodsman, so.
All right. Can both Artem and Wild make bushcraft rolls with a boon, because you know this area so well?
You know, I have bushcraft as well.
Niche protection. They're the ones who are the rangers. Let them do the heavy lifting.
Why not?
13 under 14.
Oh yeah, no, that's much better.
I got a 2.
Okay.
Under 12, I think. Under 14.
All right. So with your gear packed up and reckoning that probably finding the way yourself might be better, because if the mule train is at the vault, then that means there'll be more orcs, and that's probably bad. So you don't want to have to deal with that. So you leave under the cover of the dim light of dawn and head out, following Artem and Wild's best idea of which way to go. All of you are used to the area and the swamps and the terrain, apart from Kronk, who is a rather bookish dwarf who prefers to have solid stone underfoot. So, yeah, his robe sort of wicks the moisture up his body as the travel goes on, and the hanging parts of it get caught on thorns or nibbled on by things living in the swamp water. So for Kronk, it's a thoroughly unpleasant journey. For the rest of you, it's just regularly unpleasant, like you're used to anyway, most of the time. Almost the instant you leave the town, though, it does begin to rain, which makes the journey rather hard and arduous.
You're talking water rolls right off my back.
You an eider duck. All right. Let's see what's going to be best for resisting the elements.
I want to specify right now. I'm bringing my my new dog.
Yes.
Stealthier than I am.
I guess bushcraft to resist the nastiness of having to journey. So everyone make a bushcraft roll, please.
3 under 10.
Groovy.
What does it default to?
It defaults to intelligence, luckily for you.
3 as well, under 14.
3 under 13 or 3 under 12, I think. Yeah, 3 under 12.
Well,
2 under 12. And what he's done is he's got a little leather bucket, which he kind of rushes down to the swamp edge, fills it full of slimy water covered in algae and duckweed, brings it back up onto the cart, puts it down at his feet, sits down at on the driver's seat of the cart, and then splashes his feet in it, and then contentedly paddles at the same time.
19.
What?
19. Over, like, what, 7? Failed horribly.
Yeah. So...
Hey, he's the dwarf. What do you want?
One second. First time running this. So...
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's your intelligence?
Intelligence is 16 and has /7.
So 7 is your base chance. So yeah, you've got to get a 7 or lower. You rolled a 19.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Okay. The cold, the damp, the exposure to all kinds of biting insects and things, unless you're smearing yourself with the repellent, doesn't sit very well with you. And you now have the condition sickly. So you have a bane on any constitution-based rolls until you manage to get that fixed. Normally, you can get conditions by... So if you fail something really important, you can choose to push yourself, like you can in many free league games. And depending on the roll type, you get a bane, but you do get to re-roll.
So should I do that, or?
I'm just telling you that's what you can do other times, but for this, failure made you sickly anyway, so pushing it's not going to make any real difference there.
Okay.
So after the first hour of sniffling and sneezing and snot, Hugo finally and presumably Kronk falling further and further behind, Hugo eventually stops the wagon. Oh, for God's sake, get in the back of the cart!
All right. Thank you.
All right. So it's a hard slog for a full day through the swamps, which are full of gnarled trees, biting insects, incredibly photogenic snakes that always seem to be crawling just at the bottom right-hand corner of view, that sort of thing. Things lurking and bubbling. Eventually, at the end of your sort of first day of travel, Artem and Wild lead you onto a slightly drier island that rises up out of the muck. It's probably going to take you a second day to get to where the right area, the woods, and then it'll be 2 days back again, assuming you want to come back again and not just flee the swamps with all your booty. But you're able to set up camp here at least.
That's a bushcraft check as well to set up camp.
I think you're fine between you. You've got plenty of time to do it. There's nothing to burn really, which is the only problem that you have. because
Mhm.
what little dry wood might have been here, up in the trees, maybe, or some deadfall, has all been soaked by the rain, which still persists.
And
Gold camp.
mechanics question: what does awareness do?
Awareness.
'Cause I have a feeling that now that might become a useful
Yeah.
skill.
You use your awareness skill to watch or listen for anyone sneaking around nearby as an opposed roll. I can also let you make an awareness roll to notice emerging threats or hidden stuff, things like that. All right. You break out your rations.
Oh, wait, real question. So how is that different than spot hidden?
That's probably me conflating the two. Okay, so yeah, spot hidden is more for searching. Awareness is more for that feeling on the back of your neck.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so awareness is a passive perception skill. Spot hidden is an active perception skill.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so like awareness is you use awareness to watch or listen for anyone sneaking around nearby, an opposed roll for sneaking. Also lets you get an awareness roll to notice emerging threats in time as a passive roll.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas spot hidden is when you are looking for something concealed, you roll spot hidden. So it's an active stretch, and you only get one attempt to look for the same thing.
All right. How are you organizing watches, camp, all of that stuff?
Well,
I know these swamps pretty well, so I'll take my one good snare and set it out. I'll have as one
hunting
snare.
and fishing roll.
Yes, I will make a hunting and fishing roll.
And
What's
I'm
your-
gonna make a sneaking circumnavigation of our camp area. Look for threats or potential getaway.
Okay. Make both a sneaking and a spot hidden roll, please.
Okay. So sneaking, I rolled a 1. And spot hidden, I rolled a 6. And I have a 10 in both of them. I have a 10 in everything.
Okay, so Ludwig vanishes into the all-consuming shadows as only a truly sneaky stealth duck can, and silently moves through the bog, checking out the area around you. You don't find any immediate threats or anything, but there are a few very old chunks of old fortress or settlement sticking up out of the mire here and there, covered in ancient demonic runes.
Well, when I come back to, as I finish my circumnavigation, I'm going to inform my compatriots of the potential demonic threat by these runes nearby. I think we should investigate. I don't like the idea of going to sleep with unknown demonic runes next to me.
Yeah, so you're able to creep back and inform everyone of that. So did Wild make the hunting and fishing roll?
I did, with a 9.
Okay, you catch a very wet and bedraggled rabbit. You hear it squealing just about when Ludwig gets back, and you snag the thing by its ears and pull it out of the snare. Do you want to wring its neck immediately, or?
We have no fire to cook it on, so the meat's just going to go bad.
Actually, thinking about that, I've got hemp rope and flint and tinder. Can I try and start a fire with that?
You want to burn your rope?
A length of it. Just something to get it started.
It's a hemp rope. You know, we're all going to be sitting around going, "Oh man, this rabbit sure is good."
Okay, you could start a fire by burning a couple of meters of your rope and then generating enough heat from that to dry out and ignite some of like the bog oak and so on. But all that wood is so damp, there's going to be a huge column of white smoke coming out of even a small fire, which would be seen for miles.
Yeah.
Why are we trying to cook something when we have rations and
Good
we're
point.
trying to be stealthy?
Well, among other things, having a live animal with you provides distractions.
What?
You know nothing of bushcraft.
What are you going to do? Race it?
No.
Are you gonna train it between now and tomorrow?
No.
You can hold it by the ears and use it as a flail.
I can throw it at people.
The rabbit looks up at you as if it doesn't quite believe you either.
I'm looking at you as if I don't quite understand what the fuck you're saying.
Why don't you feed it to the dog and the wolf, and then we can just have rations? Because I'm sure they want to eat too.
Both dogs.
That's the idea I've heard all day.
Yeah, the wolf and the dog immediately sit down and look up at Wild with big puppy eyes and a lolling tongue. The rabbit looks up at you nervously.
Looks like the animals are going to get rabbit.
Squeak.
Yep. Sorry, Mr. Rabbit.
All right. So you wring its neck and toss the rabbit to the dog and the wolf, who immediately
Skinning it first. Skin is important.
Yep, keep the fur to sell. Get a couple of coppers or something for that.
Right.
Yeah, and the animals tear the poor little bunny to pieces and eat the pieces.
So otherwise, I'm
Okay.
going to eat my ration.
So wait, again, there are demonic runes on the ruins just over there. And I don't feel comfortable going to sleep without some understanding if those runes at the ruins are dangerous or not.
The runic ruins have been ruined.
Yeah,
Kronk's your guy for checking into ancient ruins and magic.
I had a feeling. Kronk, follow me.
So, is it wet and shitty over there too?
Yeah.
It's wet and
Yeah,
shitty everywhere.
Wet and shitty everywhere. It's called embrace the suck, my friend.
I sit down and clean my clothes with my spell and go,
Yep.
I don't care about the runes.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe if you don't fuck with them, they won't fuck with you.
Nope, I don't like that at all. So I'm trying to recall any myths and legends about demonic ruins.
Okay.
I have
make
a
a-
myths and legends of 10,
Okay. Make a roll.
and I rolled a 5.
So there are lots of both draconic and demonic ruins all across the world from the before times. Some of them contain treasures. Some of them are just ruins that have been smashed to pieces. If it's in ruins, then odds are the magic has dissipated. It should be safe enough. You can't be 100% certain, but as long as you have people standing watch, so nothing untoward can happen, you should be all right.
Was I able to get close enough to be able to reproduce a simple one for Crunker here to look
Yeah.
at?
Yeah, you can grab a stick and sketch some of the runes in the mud. If Kronk wants to take a look at them, can Kronk make a Myths and Legends roll, please?
Well, after I see him putzing around and screwing off and, poking at things he shouldn't be, I finally get up. I go with the slothfulness and start moving. That's my
Okay.
So, and I go over and look at it. Gee.
Okay. So
playing my pessimism. If you go and fuck with that, it's definitely going to turn out bad, right?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to sit down.
Why don't you sit down?
Are you looking at the runes that he reproduced, or are you going to look at the actual
I'll go
runes?
look at the actual ones. I'll go look at the actual ones.
So you
what do I do with these? Kronk, should I leave them here? Is it going to hurt anything?
How do I know? I'm not sure what you took them from.
Okay. Can you make a Myths and Legends roll, please, for Kronk?
Here, let me take a look at that. It says Klaatu, Barada, Nechara.
Hey, a 1.
Necktie.
A 1.
I think a 1's good.
Nectarn.
Okay.
It
Nickel.
turns out
Perfect.
says last breakfast for 200 miles.
This way to the egress. Yeah, you scrape off some of the moss and muck and displace a rather startled newt. Actually, the muck has helped because it's settled into the carvings in the stone and has sort of outlined all the ancient runes for you.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever enchantment or declaration was here has been broken up when the ruin fell, so it shouldn't cause any problems. There's a sort of lingering taint of evil here.
Taint. He said taint.
Lol. But yeah, it refers to some demon prince. You can't make out the name, which is probably for the best because invoking names of demons never ends well. But some lord of beasts or something, prince of the netherworld, blah blah blah. Usual self-aggrandizing demonic bullshit.
I think I know that one. I'm gonna get out my little weird book.
Well, I'll explain to him, that it's no longer dangerous, and just don't play with it. Don't try to recreate it. Don't try to rewrite it.
Okay. So the night passes largely uneventfully. Ludwig has some unsettled dreams about little demonic imps climbing into his sleeping roll and biting his toes, but as it turns out, it's just a rather petulant frog. And the next
Frog always
day,
trying to swallow things bigger than it.
they have no sense.
Don't.
But your second day of travel comes much easier for you. A bit of an Indian summer, warming up the autumn, which makes the swamp uncomfortable in completely new, different, and horrible ways for Kronk. But you can remove your sickly. You're just tired now more than anything, but not bad enough for it to be a penalty.
Okay, you just triggered an ADHD distraction here real quick. Indian summer, is that a Brit term?
Yes, so a British thing. If you get like a warm week or two
that's what it means in the United. But to me, it made sense as an Indian because it was always indigenous was the term, is what it was thought to mean. But now I'm wondering if it means Indian as in the
as in India. Yeah. As far as I know, that's where it's from.
All right, cool. I love learning little things like that.
But so we usually get a week or two that's slightly warmer in September or October. Yeah, more so as climate change takes effect. But anyway, right. So in the slightly more clement weather, though Kronk can't tell that much of a difference, you slog your way through the swamp and approach the edges of the spiderwood.
And so, Kronk, just out of curiosity, are you a fine smeller as well? Because one of the joys of as swamp starts to dry out, it smells interesting. And if you're not a swamp dweller, you may be appalled.
Smell bad.
Lucky for me, we don't really have a great sense of smell as dwarves. So
Yeah.
you enjoy that.
And lucky for you, you packed some soft cheese in your rations, which you can form into plugs and stuff up your nose.
I was just gonna say, shove some mint leaves.
That's slightly better.
Wild is probably the one suffering, but
But dogs love horrible smells.
that's
Yeah,
true.
that's, I was going to say. Now, they love that stuff, man. They love going out into the swamp and getting their face in the duckweed and the muck, coming back
Rolling
all
in shit.
covered in stuff.
Yeah. Every time
tell.
when I was a kid, every time we took my friend's dog out at all, it would zero in on the nearest pile of fox shit and roll in it straight away.
Right.
I'm glad my dogs don't do that. He's so
Well,
annoying.
I grew up on a farm in southwest Michigan, and fully a third of our land was marshy swamp. And the dogs would chase whatever, and they would come back having rolled in the dead whatever, and pull back the, what where I grew up, people would be poaching deer, and so they would field dress it and cut the head off and leave it out with the innards.
Lovely.
So you couldn't identify that they had poached a female. And the dogs would come back with the deer heads all the time. And legs.
Lovely. All right. Anyway, so about halfway through the second day, pausing to nibble your rations, you are within sight of the spiderwood. Here, towards the center of the swamp, there's a cluster of these muddy islands that come up out of the muck, like little humps, sort of bound together with reeds and weed, and twisted bog oaks grow on the various islands, their branches intermingling, and all manner of vines and other stuff growing between them. So not much light gets into the spiderwood. The moment you kind of cross the border of it after thrashing your way through the reeds, it'll be dark and dim, and you won't be able to see very far. Even at the edges of the swamp, in the slight breeze that makes its way through the dense vegetation, there are strands of enormous spiderweb blowing out in the breeze, some of them snapping free and floating off through the swamp, others just like streamers waving.
Well,
How
this is going to
large
go
are
well.
these streamers?
Sorry, what was that?
How large are these streamers?
Enough that you wouldn't want to see the spider that made it.
That's what I thought. Is it flammable?
Probably, if it's dry enough.
Well, it's a beautiful day. It's going to be dry. It's going to be now.
Yeah, you could make torches out of the spider web, probably.
Yeah, like take a stick and then just wrap it and roll it till you get a big old, like,
big old candy floss lump on
yeah,
the end.
I was gonna say candy, sugar, whatever it's called, floss. Yeah. That's what you call it.
Candy floss.
I don't think that's what we call it.
I'm drawing a blank. What it can't
Stuff
cotton candy?
Cotton
candy. That's what we call
you call
it.
it cotton candy. Yeah, we call it candy floss.
Yeah. So we're gonna make cotton candy web torches, but is the sun going down now? Is that my understanding?
No, it's only about midday. So it's about when you pause to snack. But it will be dim and dark under there, shadowy, which suits you, but not necessarily the others, perhaps. Anyone else want to make any preparations?
Yes, I'm going to take out the two jars from the alchemist, and unfortunately, Hugo very carefully labelled one of them with a letter R for retardant and one with a letter R for resistance.
Well,
But
one's a vial and one's a pot. So
yes, and
it
it was definitely the goo that he remembers the goo bit. So he's going to wipe it. Actually, he's going to wipe it not on his clothing. He's going to wipe it on his sleeping pelt.
Okay.
So that he can cast that over his shoulders as required.
Well, I would note that 3 of us have torches, and Hugo has a lantern. So
yeah, you can never have too many torches.
Yeah, we have plenty of light source.
Yeah, I'm like thinking about, burning massive amounts of spider web in defense. That's actually kind of where my thoughts have been.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to like poisonous spiders, I'm okay with killing them first.
Set fire to the whole swamp. That should deal with the problem.
That's kind of my thinking, to be completely honest. Burn it all down on the way out.
So this is where Wild and Artem need to try and pick up the trail that the mule train has taken through the Spiderwood. So if you'll both make bushcraft rolls, please.
All right, let me see.
Um,
That dog can't do it. All right. 4 under 14.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I appear to have failed mine, but is there not a rule where I can redo that?
You can push.
Yep.
Is there another use for willpower as well? I don't know, because the index doesn't have a W section. That's helpful.
So there's like no webbed feet for the ends. Yeah, I mean, that's like right here.
Oh, hang on. No, they've put them under V. This is probably some artifact of Swedish.
All right, so.
But helpfully, that section doesn't tell me what else you can use willpower for.
So I will take the angry condition in order to push.
Yep. And reroll.
Get a reroll. Oh, a 3. Much better.
So that's better. Yeah, so you and Artem consult each other on the track signs that you're seeing. You get into an argument a bit, which makes you angry, but then you realize he was right and shut up. But you're still sort of seething at the fact that someone with no proper nose figured out the tracks better than you did.
Yep. Damn flat face.
So at the edge of the islands, where they rise up out of the reeds, Artem can see, there's quite a lot of tracks. Not that fresh, because it's been about a week since they last came through here. But despite all that, you can make out that you reckon there were 3 swamp donkeys, maybe 6 guards, and another animal going with them. You think a pig.
Well, that shouldn't be hard to. Shouldn't be hard to find pig shit in here. It's pretty distinctive.
All right. So, what is the plan then for following the trail? You're pretty sure you can follow it, but do you want to organize your marching order or anything of that sort?
Yeah, let's make sure that people who can maintain following the track, at least one of them is up front. Sucks to get lost on the way. How are we doing with the ability to bring the cart with us?
So the cart has special wide flat wheels because it's designed for dragging through swamps. So,
cool.
Though the Hugo Swamp Donkey seems rather reticent to enter the island.
Oh. Well.
Up until the moment I bring out from underneath the seat the large tangled bullwhip, and just sort of idly wander round to the donkey and just show it to him. Just show it.
His ears flatten, his legs shake, and he hangs his head in submission.
So as a amateurish bushcrafter, meaning, you know, I have a 10. If I were to scout ahead using my,
because you're sneaky,
dastardly sneak skills and my amazing spot hidden and awareness, no, all average. All these things are average. They're nothing. But, you know, there is a brand to uphold. So, yeah.
So what? So Ludwig scout ahead, then what? Artem or Wild?
I figure both of us, because apparently it takes both of us to navigate this. Plus, we both have ranged weapons, so we can support.
Yeah,
Drake.
That's what I was thinking. If
and you'll notice if I go off path, so you'll be able to stop me or at least pull me back and get me back.
Unless you crit your stealth again, then they won't notice you disappearing.
There's that.
So then Kronk, probably, because you want to keep your magic user somewhat protected, and then Hugo and the cart at the rear. Yes?
I thought I was still on the cart.
I was going to say, I would have just have assumed that Kronk was going to stay riding on the back of the cart.
Yeah, okay. Good. That's what Kronk's doing.
Touch the ground as little as possible.
Exactly.
All right. Un momento, por favor. Okay, can I have both a stealth and an awareness roll from Ludwig, please?
Okay, so alphabetical awareness. Oh, that's a 1 on a 10. And sneaking?
Yeah, stealth, isn't it? Or sneaking?
No, it's sneaking. And that is a 12 on a 10.
Okay, so alert, but not particularly stealthy. You move ahead of the rest, while Artem and Wild follow the tracks as best they can. A pile of donkey poop here, a orcish boot print there, mismatched boots. Orcs, what are you going to do? But as Ludwig is sneaking ahead, he starts to become aware that the tree canopy is now more and more festooned with spider webs. There are plenty of small spiders and medium-sized spiders. No giant spiders yet, immediately. But then a little while longer down the path, which is now looking a lot more hard compacted, like this is where they've really gone, you do spot a few other things. You see a few more fragments of ancient stone with broken runes on them, similar to what you saw before. And occasionally, when the light is just right, you catch a glimpse of multiple glittering eyes in the darkness watching you.
Okay, so how does the pot of stink seem to be working right now?
Well, it hasn't attacked you yet.
Does it look like sets of 8 eyes?
Well, he's the one scouting ahead.
Yeah,
By the time
yeah.
you guys get up, they retreat, but you can occasionally hear tapping noises and skittering isn't quite the right word for something.
Yeah.
Size.
No, I can imagine all exactly what I mean, you know, I hear it. I can hear that weird noise of them tapping on things and transmitting
Yeah. It's a
data
sound.
and information, and we've been surrounded. And so I am going to light my torch.
Which one? The web one or a normal torch?
Oh, I only have a wall one. I don't have other torches.
Okay. Do you have a flint and tinder?
I do.
Okay. So holding the web torch between your legs, you scrape away with the flint and tinder. Eventually, the sparks catch the web. There is a very brief, very bright conflagration of light, and then it's all burnt away.
Ah!
You all hear a sound a bit like sticks being tapped together, coming from all around you in the woods.
And they might have noticed a bright flash and hear me exclaim and discuss.
Yeah. So what do you all wish to do now?
Well,
Anyone?
Yeah.
Eula?
I cast
Keep
light.
heading.
You cast light. Okay. So
Continue, because they haven't attacked him yet.
this is our first spell, I think. So let's just check this out.
that's
Light
the
is a trick.
trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no spot.
Costs you 1 willpower. All right. So, using your thumbnail, you scratch a quick rune into the soft wood of the side of Hugo's cart.
Oi, 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 oi! What are you
Whisper
doing?
a couple of words, and a bright glow of light spreads out from above you. You all briefly see, sets of 8 eyes in the darkness, and then they scrabble back. Seems they don't like the light that much. Is Ludwig gonna drop back to join the others now instead of scouting?
I was waiting for them to come up to me now.
Okay. Yeah, so you all catch up to Ludwig, who's holding a smoldering stick. And the tips of his face feathers are all slightly singed.
Yeah.
Could have told you that was going to happen.
No, you didn't.
I said I could have told you. I didn't.
Okay.
There's more clattering noises around the woods,
Well,
echoing strangely off the trees.
Let's keep our heads down and keep moving. I'm gonna pull out my bow and prepare it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Wild's got the sling ready.
All right.
Actually, I don't think Artem, I don't think you can pull your bow out because it's a two-handed weapon, just like my sling. So we if we're going to maintain a torch and a dagger.
oh, I thought we had a light spell.
You got a light
Yeah.
spell from Kronk, so yeah.
Oh,
you
okay.
can-
Okay. So we don't need it now. All right.
Yeah, so you can
Sling.
douse the lantern or the torch and string your bow and get it ready. All right. Can Ludwig, Artem, and Wild all make awareness rolls, please?
I don't know. Can we?
I cannot. 18 over 14. So
8
what?
over
How's it?
10.
I got 3 under 12.
Okay.
8 under 10. Yeah.
Sorry, were you asking about the pushing?
Yeah. So you just get a
You
condition that.
you get a condition, which means you have a bane. So roll 2 dice, take the worst on anything to do with that stat further on. But you can take any condition, so like angry, sickly, whatever it is from the list. It's not worth it here, especially if someone
2
defeated.
successes.
So I think Wild succeeded the most, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as you move on down the path, up ahead, the trees thin out a little bit, and there is an old stone circle that seems largely intact, including the runes on it. Hanging from the trees around the stone circle are a bunch of cocoons. But
This
the path,
could be bad.
yeah, the path just ahead of you, Wild notices, the ground is moving slightly, like raising and lowering, and a few little stones are kind of rattling away as if there's something buried under the path.
Trapdoor spiders, perhaps.
Anybody got any oil?
Who's got the lantern?
You go.
Yes, Hugo. The seat of this thing is like a box. This cart seat is like a box, so he has to kind of stand up, turn around, waggling his tail feathers around, lifting the lid of the box. Takes out a presumably sort of clay pot. I'm sure it would be
Or a leather
whatever.
flask. Yeah.
Currently stoppered. He will take out the lantern as well, but he's not envisaging a lantern being able to do very much compared to a pitcher of oil. But he will get it out, and assuming we're all bunched up together around the cart, he will hand it. Who does he think is the most competent?
Well, Wild asked for it, so.
Yeah, well, and probably you are the one he regards as most competent as well in this scenario. So yes, he'll hand it to you.
Yeah, Wild will take the flask of oil and start emptying it out on the moving stuff. Just basically like shaking it out on it.
You creep forward as far as you dare, and then upend the flask. Glop, glop, glop.
Well, I'm not so much upending it. I'm literally splashing,
right.
And then using
lamp oil all over the ground that was moving.
Yeah, then igniting it with a torch or flint and steel.
But what do you see? Like something's moving. What is
Can
it?
you make a spot hidden roll while you're that close then for Wild, please?
All right. Ooh, got a 5, and this is not even one of my skills. So.
The ground is rising and falling as if something is buried just beneath the surface, breathing.
Yep. And now it's on fire.
Yeah. Initiative rolls, please. Everyone roll just a d10 and tell me the result.
Wild got a 2.
Ludwig has 4.
Okay.
Oh, I did not throw away your lantern skin, by the way, Hugo. He wouldn't have done that to you, but
Yeah,
so you could refill it later.
What did Artem get?
9.
Okay. And Kronk?
1, I said.
1. I didn't hear you. And Hugo?
7.
7. All right. So I think we start at 1 and then go up. Now, there's a feature of this system that you can swap initiatives with other people or even the monsters. So let me just roll initiative for the monster. Yeah. Spider. Okay, so the spider gets 2 turns, and it goes on turn 5 and turn 8. Monsters will not swap unless it makes them faster. So at the moment, it's going to go Kronk, Wild, Ludwig, Spider's first turn, Hugo, Spider's second turn, then Artem. Does anyone wish to swap with each other or...
Yes, I will swap with Artem straight away.
Okay. So Artem's now going on 7 and Hugo is now going last. Presuming Artem wanted to go earlier.
Fair enough. I'm good.
Artem, you want to go first? Because I don't know what to do. and I don't have a bow or something. So
All right. So
You've got magic. So do you two want to swap then?
yeah, we'll swap the Arden.
Okay.
All right.
So
Artem's on 1 and I'm on 2.
all right. Any more swaps? Or you're good now. This is probably easier with cards.
It is.
All right. So the fire goes up. How much damage does fire do?
I could tell you real quick. Hang on. If you count it as burning firewood,
Yeah.
or are you gonna burning firewood or a torch?
Firewood, because it's all the oil.
Okay. Burning firewood attack hits automatically and inflicts 2d6 fire damage plus damage bonus. So that would be 2d6 plus d6 for me. So 3d6.
Okay. Can you roll 3d6 fire damage then, please?
I can. I got 12.
Okay.
Terrible.
1 second. Do spiders count as having armor? It's not under S for spider because it's a giant spider. No, they do not count as having armor despite having enormous exoskeletons. Okay, so you did 12 damage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't have any armor.
Yeah. All right, so the oil goes up in a massive flare, and it has soaked into the ground somewhat, so it burns deep and runs down through gaps in the stone and burns at the spider beneath, which erupts out of the ground like that thing in the Flash Gordon movie. The thing.
Green thing.
This big fat swamp spider looks a bit more like a tick than a spider, so much, though its limbs are longer. And setting it on fire does not seem to have made it very happy at all. Its chitin clinks together, its beady eyes glitter in the firelight as it tries to shake the oil off its back, sending it scattering. But Artin can act first. What do you want to do? You can move and make an action.
All right. Are there any stunts? Can I try and shoot it to pin it down?
Combat options. There are things like shove if you've got higher strength. There are special abilities for things like deflecting arrows, that sort of thing.
So, I'm looking at my daggers. They say one-handed D8 damage, subtle, pierce, slash, thrown.
Yeah, those are keywords. Not all of them necessarily make that much sense, but that's just mostly it's just a sort of guide as to what you can use for sneak attacks and what kind of attack it is, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's too much of a headache, I'll just take a regular shot at him.
You can make your ranged attack roll with a Bane to try and pin one of its legs, and that might slow it down a bit. Okay, it's the easiest way to do it.
That's a fail. 16 over 10.
Okay, so somewhat panicked, you try and steel yourself and aim for one of its legs, which are the thinnest, hardest to hit parts of its body, and you loose an arrow, which just glances off its skeleton and caroms off into the darkness. Do you want to move?
No one's in front of me, or just Wild?
You and Wild and Ludwig are all at the front.
All right. I think this is a good. If we can stand 3 abreast, I think that's a good place to stay.
All right. So Wild's up next.
All right. Well, trying to stay clear of it, so knife and sling basically do the same amount of damage. I'm just going to go ahead and sling it.
All right. So you whip the sling around and hurl a stone at the thing. Make your ranged attack roll.
Yeah, easy. Got a 7.
And how much damage does that do?
D8 plus D6.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, D8 plus D6, and we got 10 total.
Okay. So you whip the sling around. The stone flies out at high speed and cracks it in the noggin, breaking part of the exoskeleton. And
Can the wolf get an attack also?
yes, he will act on your turn, so you can charge in and bite at it if you want.
All right. So let's see. Wolf has a bite skill level 14. Let me roll real quick. He got a 7 also, so he gets under his.
Okay. And how much damage does he do?
2 dice 6.
Okay.
He's a nipper, he is. He did 8.
Okay. Did Artem want to order his dog to attack as well, or do you not want to lose another dog?
I thought I already passed my turn, but if I can, I will send Poochie number 2.
Okay. Make an attack roll for him.
Yeah. Let's see what he's got. So bite 12. I'm rolling under 12.
Yep.
So he'll move up and bite. 19. Nothing.
Okay. He charges up, but his floppy hair gets in his eyes, and he savages a stick next to the spider. Okay. Ludwig.
Okay, so I'm going to take advantage of the wolf having made the attack, move into backstabbing range, use my willpower, spend 3. Your attack on a flanked foe cannot be dodged or parried. You get a boon to the roll and add an extra die of weapon damage. And you can only do this with subtle weapons. So,
So that's your special secret dagger attack. So spend the willpower.
So I spend 3
1 second
out of 9.
Before you spend it, 1 second.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, it's busy. I'll let you. I was going to make you do an acrobatics or similar roll to manage to move around and flank it properly, but with everything.
I actually, I meant to say that, to be completely honest. That's actually was I started there in my head, but I didn't come out of my mouth.
All right. Well, all right then. Make an acrobatics roll to get around it.
All right. Oh,
oops!
Jesus Christ! Okay, so 5 under 10.
Okay, so you do manage to maneuver around. Then you spend the willpower. Then you do the damage. So roll the damage score, please.
Oh, don't I have to still hit?
We can't evade or anything. So yes, you do still have to hit it. Sorry.
Right. So all right. So that, and I roll twice.
A lot of powers are automatic, so that's what my brain was. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I just want. And then so my knives are 10. Yeah, everything's 10.
I think you get a boon on the attack for flanking.
Right. So I can roll twice
and take the best result.
So yeah, that was an 11 over 10. Oh, and there's a dragon, a 1 under 10.
Okay, so that's double damage.
Nice.
Plus, so it's extra die. So it's 2d8 times 2.
Let me just check his sheet to be sure.
Or is it 1d8 times 2 plus 8 plus 1d8?
All right, don't do that to me. Go higher up, Jim. You're there. You are.
So you get a boon to the roll, which we did, and add an extra die of weapon damage,
which is a d8.
Yeah. So roll 2d8 and then double the result.
That bingo. Oh, 1, 6, 7, 14 total.
Okay. All right. So while the rest of you engage the beast, or a stick, as the case may be, from the front, Ludwig creeps around behind it. You're willing to
No,
take...
he absolutely does this amazing roll, flip, and land, sticks it, and not just stick it on his feet, but sticks it to the beast.
All right. Well, he disappears in a flurry of his cloak, acrobatically and graciously gets around behind the thing, gets up on it, in fact, and manages to drive his dagger through what passes for a giant spider's brain. The thing slumps and falls, and its legs twitch in all directions as it dies. But that was certainly not the only spider.
Damn.
All right, 2 more gigantic spiders emerge from the edge of the forest, but a bit more wary now that you've killed one of their fellows. But that's all they can really do at this point. Well, maybe. So monsters in this, they have a kind of chart for random attacks of what they do on their turn, which is quite nice. I think it takes a lot of stress out of the games master's decision making. So let's see. That's not going to do anything. Okay, one of them rears up and spits a gobbet of toxin at Ludwig, seeking revenge, obviously. Right, let me see.
So, as I was reading the rules, I've already moved. It's squirting at me. Can I still use evade?
You cannot, because you have no actions.
That's what I thought. That's exactly. Wow. Talk about action economy.
Yeah, parries and evades have to be. You have to have, it has to not. You have to have not moved or done anything. So you have to hold.
Does that take up your movement action or your main action?
It just takes up your action.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like basically if you choose to parry or evade, you flip your initiative card over and you don't get to do anything.
Yeah. So yeah, it's quite.
And then you roll on that skill, and then nothing can happen to you if you make the roll.
Yeah.
Is that my understanding of the rule? Yeah. Then? So like you can just choose my turn. I'm evading.
Yeah. Basically.
Okay.
Or you can do it in reaction to getting hit.
Yeah. Monster attack. Right. Monster always uses a monster attack when it attacks. Each monster has a unique set. GM rolls. Monster attacks always succeed automatically unless the monster is a character monster. So that's action. Yeah. And you don't have anything free to dodge or parry.
Nope. Stupidity leads to character creation.
All right. So, yeah, you're splashed with acid all down one side of your body. It starts to burn into your cloak. Do you have any armor?
Well, would that be under gear?
It should be.
Then the answer is no.
I thought you had leather armor, but let me have a look.
Nope.
Nope. No, you don't. Okay.
I mean, I've got some options like what you're looking at right now that I was going to use for something else, but yeah, no.
Okay, you take 5 hit points of acid damage.
Yeesh.
Yeah. That's like more than 50%.
Yep. So the spider's acidic spit lands all along the side of your cloak, starts to sizzle and burn through the fabric and curl your feathers beneath.
Smells like cooking duck.
No, it smells
Yeah.
like burnt feathers.
Which is not a nice smell.
Yeah, a horrifying smell.
All right. So that was their first go. Kronk.
Oh yeah, he's at the tail end almost, isn't he?
Yeah.
Are either one of the two separated from the party members?
So these extra spiders have come out either side of the trail. So they're kind of to the forward left of your marching order and to the forward right of your marching order.
I'm just trying to figure out if I drop a fireball at one, I'm not going to catch these guys in it, right?
Yeah, I don't think you can hit your own people with fireball. It probably shouldn't be called fireball because you spend extra willpower points to designate extra targets. So it doesn't seem like it's a massive area effect or anything anyway. Yeah, 20-meter range, hurls a fireball that can be dodged or parried, same as a ranged attack. Fireball does 2d6 fire damage and sets things on fire, surprisingly enough. Each extra power level you commit to the attack can attack either another target or do another d6 of damage.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to get one of them. So I don't know how it works yet anyway.
Okay, so 2 willpower to cast. For each additional power level you want to put in, there's another 2 willpower. Then you make an elementalism roll to hit.
I'll just try it.
It could be parried.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too. I was trying to imagine that in my head, how that looks.
You can only parry ranged attacks with a shield. So
Okay.
Anyway, 11 under 14.
okay, so that's a hit. If you're doing a basic version of
2d6.
fireball, that's 2d6 fire damage, and he's then on fire.
10 points.
Okay.
I was gonna say you might want to pump some power into that because these things are tough.
Well, I didn't know how the thing works yet. So
Yeah.
So, all right, let's clarify that real quick. So once you spend the willpower to cast the spell, can you then cast or spend more willpower to pump, or is that all done in advance and then roll?
You have to spend it all in advance and then roll, but you can push if you need to.
Gotcha.
Okay, so yeah, a bolt of flame hurtles out of Kronk's hand and smashes into one of the spiders. Flame cascades over it, and its flesh catches and starts to sizzle and burn. Its legs start to curl in on themselves a little bit, but it's not dead yet. The
Holy
spiders
shit,
get another
Kronk.
go. They can't move any closer, but they can make a ranged attack if they can make a ranged attack. And so, random attacks.
I'm gonna die.
Okay. The other
You get
one
You get to
rears
test out the
up.
death saves.
And spits its acid all over the wolf, doing 7 hit points of damage to the wolf.
Hmm?
7 hit points of damage to your pet wolf.
Okay. Let me see how much this thing can actually take. Okay, yeah, Wolf survived. He's only got 3 hit points left, so he's not happy.
Right, yeah. So he howls and yips. So just Hugo left.
Slings function under the bows skill, do they?
No, they have a sling skill.
Do they? Oh, okay.
'Cause I have it.
Let's have a look.
It's agility.
All right. Okay. So agility is 5. In which case, I seem to. Oh, is it worth it? How do you recover willpower?
Probably not in
No,
combat.
because the index is not terribly useful.
No. I just want to know whether, if we get, for example, a chance at another night's rest or a rest up, whether I can recoup some.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Yeah.
Okay, you find it. Might be under healing.
Okay, lost hit points and willpower are recovered by resting. 3 kinds of rest: round rest, stretch rest, and shift rest. Round rest is rest that lasts a single round. During a round rest, you recover only a d6 willpower, no hit points. So, yeah, if you're low on willpower, you can bypass your turn to rest and get a d6 willpower back, which is pretty useful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that means I'm definitely going to spend the 3 willpower.
Wait, so how do you get health back?
Stretch rest or shift rest.
So that's a short and
Yeah.
long, 4
Yeah.
to 8.
Yeah.
I like that. Earn the willpower by. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, because it allows spellcasters to not just be totally useless in combat after they run out of mana.
Yeah, that's a nice mechanic. Interesting.
I don't know how long a stretch is.
Stretches are short rests that last for one stretch of time.
I guess they're being kind of seen-ish about it, wibbly wobbly.
Yeah.
So I'd say, half hour to an hour. And if someone tends you with the heal skill, you get more hit points back. So yes, you will be able to recover your hit points. Okay, so yeah, were you throwing a sling stone at one of them?
I certainly am. Furiously throwing sling stone. You chitinous bastard! But as it happened, that only allows me to have a boon on the attack roll, and even with the boon, I got a 6. And since my agility is only 5, and I don't have the slingshot skill, that's a miss.
Okay, so the stone hurtles into the darkness and rebounds off a couple of trees. From the stone circle up ahead, the runes on it glow purple, and you hear a sort of choral voice speaking from the stones, as if many voices are speaking as one through it. It booms out and says, "Where is our pig?"
Oh, shit.
Well, that's an interesting question. And what I'd like to know is, where does your pig normally come from?
Obvious.
Well, initiative for the next turn. So everyone please roll your initiatives.
That was a D10?
Yeah, D10.
D10, yeah.
Interesting.
I'm probably going dead last because I got a 10.
With my best with nail voice, I look at the dog. Go, offer yourself to him.
No.
Artem?
8.
Okay. Ludwig?
6.
Kronk?
2.
Hugo?
8.
All right. So the spiders got 1, so they're going first.
Yeah.
Then Kronk. Then Ludwig. Then the spiders again. Then Artem, then Wild. Does anyone want to swap their initiative?
Yeah, does Wild want to swap with me?
What's your initiative?
2.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Anyone closer to the top want to go last?
I'm on 8, if it makes a difference to you.
So am I.
Well, you can't both be on the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because normally you would have cards.
I think probably, given who we are, I probably should default to 9, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to think a little strategically here, because I have a big whopping 2 hit points left, and I think I'm probably the closest. And
What's your initiative?
6. Because if I go first, I can use evade and get the fuck out of Dodge.
Well, you can evade anyway in response, right?
Yeah, you can evade out of initiative order. It uses your action for the turn.
Right. No. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think about how not to do that. So if I move using acrobatics and then sneaking, can I get behind these? Like acrobat myself out into the bush, come around.
So take
Yeah.
cover for this turn, basically, by putting trees between you and the spiders for your move, and then hold your action to defend yourself if something comes your way anyway. Yeah?
Correct. Got it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So if no one else is changing anything, right. Both spiders, including the one that is slightly on fire, and takes some more hit points. They both skitter closer to the stone circle and wait there. The one that was on fire uses the rest of its action this turn to sort of roll around in the muck to put the fire out. And you hear the voices come through the stone circle, again, more insistent, angry. Where is our pig?
Get your ass.
So that's the spiders. So Wild is up next. What do you want to do?
All right. I already know these bastards are tough as hell. One of them's on fire?
It was on fire. It is no longer on fire.
Well, okay, the one that was on fire is probably the most hurt. I'm going to assume, so that's my target because, yeah, these things are tough, and the sooner we take them out, the less likely they are going to kill us. So, taking a shot with the sling.
Okay, go for it.
Slingity, sling, sling, sling.
Sling.
Got a 6, so that's going to hit.
Okay, roll damage.
I hit for 7, 8, 9.
Okay, and the one that was burnt. Yeah. All right, so the slingstone flies out, cracks into its jaw, and fractures one of its mandibles. It sort of hisses and shakes its head, and ichor comes splashing out in all directions.
And Mr. Wolf also gets an attack.
So he hurtles forward, still sizzling from the acid burning into his fur.
And hits with a 7 for 10 damage.
10 damage. Okay. So yeah, he leaps up and bites into the thing at the top of one of its legs, biting through the soft part between the plates, filling his gob with more foulness. The spider's still alive, but just barely. Its body heaves. These things are big enough where they need lungs. Right. Ludwig takes cover.
It's almost down.
And melds into the all-consuming darkness. The spiders take their actions. Can you make an evade roll for your wolf?
It just did its attack. Can it still get one?
Yeah, you always get an evade against this.
Okie dokie. So yes, I will make an evade roll. It probably failed. Let me double check. But that's a 15. Its evade is a 12, so no, it failed its evade.
Okay, so he falls back away from this spider, which rears back and shoots a whole bunch of webbing out of its spinnerets, which stick your wolf to the ground.
No.
It struggles weakly against the webbing, but seems well and truly pinned. The
for now.
Other spider turns and sinks its fangs into your wolf. As it will end up. And the wolf takes another 2 hit points of damage.
It's at 0.
So not dead, but dying. So we'll have to figure that out in a minute.
Well, does it? Are you going to count it like it's a person?
Yes.
So then it's going to get death rolls every round. So I've got that page up already.
Okay. So you don't need to worry about it yet, but on your next turn.
Yeah.
All right. So Artem.
All right, so there's the one spider that's on its last legs, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And how many more are there?
At the moment, you're facing 2, one of which is virtually dead. The other one is thus far untouched. But judging
Right.
from the choral nature of the voice coming from the stone circle, there's probably more.
So I'm going to send my dog for the one that's already near death, and I'm going to shoot at the one that's at full health.
Okay. Make the attack roll for the dog and the shoot roll for yourself.
Shoot roll for me fails, but the dog...
Poing.
Let's see the dog. The dog also fails.
Savages another stick, thinking it's a spider leg.
Come on, dog. Start showing some
I-
basic competence.
Yeah, I'm going to cut that hair out its eyes.
Right.
Becoming a problem.
Hugo.
Clamber down from the wagon and begin to unhitch the donkey.
Unleash the donkey.
And hope that spiders
No, I
don't know the difference between asinine and porcine.
Right, and lastly, Kronk.
Chuck a fireball at the one that's not wounded.
Okay, so spend the willpower and make the shooty roll.
Yeah, 6.
All right, so yeah, you trace the runes in the air, shout something in pseudo Latin, Ignis or something, and another bolt of fire hurtles forth and strikes the other spider. Roll the damage, please.
Yeah. So I'm boost. This was boosted up.
Oh, you spent more willpower.
Yeah. No. Yeah, 2 each. You said.
Yeah, 2 for each level of power, and each extra level adds d6 to the damage. Yeah.
Yeah. 10, 16.
16 damage. Nice. Okay. It's engulfed in much stronger flames and is set on fire. It shrieks and thrashes its legs around. However, given Hugo's plan, presumed plan, are we going to let him go ahead with offering sacrifice, or do you want to continue to fight them?
Well, I think we should probably continue to fight them, because though my ministrations for figuring out how to do this without violence, I just have a really strong propensity for violence, and so I want to kill these things now.
Okay, well, we'll consider combat still present but somewhat suspended. While Hugo, who only used his action to unhook, can perhaps attempt to converse with the spiders as the fire slowly peters out.
I'm not sure there's much in the way of negotiation to be done with, demon-inspired spiders. But what he will do, particularly if he now realizes that there's not some other immediate and obvious source of attention, as he's kind of undoing the last of the leather straps and pulling this reluctant beast out from between the halves of the wagon. I want an extra 20%.
Wait a minute. Did you just say demonic? Did I miss a clue somewhere that identified this thing as demonic? It was the purple, right? It's the purple.
The runes, the glowing
Gotcha.
purple runes are demonic runes, but they just
Right.
seem to be translating what the spiders are saying into something you can understand. Is that our pig?
Yes, this is it. 20%. I'm looking around at each of these guys now. Extra 20%. This is my bloody livelihood.
Tall pig, succulent pig.
Yes, yes.
Bring us the pig.
I'm not comfortable with that cut, to be completely honest.
He looks back at these kind of glowing purple runes and the sort of, the rest of the bodies, which presumably are kind of like long pig shaped or something in the cocoons.
Yeah, and the cocoons. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, 15.
Look,
Bring us the pig. Bring
look,
us
we
the pig.
we all know that 10% is a fair cut. You're
All right,
you're
10. Fine,
saying-
10. Fine. And turn the donkey towards the thing and just sort of get the bullwhip and lash it towards the standing stones.
The donkey turns its head and looks at you mournfully.
Like,
Such a look of deep betrayal. That you managed, with the threat of the bullwhip, you managed to bring it closer to the stone circle. As you do so, more spiders that have been watching emerge out of the darkness. They seem weirdly unconcerned by the deaths and flamey burniness of their compatriots. They just seem fixated on the donkey. Good, yes, nice pig, tall pig, succulent pig, juicy pig, leave pig and go.
Just otherwise
Two
known
legs.
as Dudley. All right.
Dudley, juicy Dudley.
all right,
Go.
which
Leave.
direction do we go? What's the best direction? Where I'm looking. Where have they given us leave to move to?
One of them turns its head and jerks onwards. The path does seem to continue on the other side of the stone circle.
Okay. I figure maybe they would like get out of our way and give us.
No. They're all very excitedly standing around this terrified donkey.
All right. Well, I wade through these things to the other side of.
Rest of you all moving on as well?
Yes.
Yep.
After I cut my wolf free.
Yes. The wolf limps along after you, and you carry on through the woods. The dense undergrowth gradually screening off the stone circle behind you, from which you hear a terrifying as the spiders tuck in. Right.
Have you ever heard a donkey scream? I mean, it's truly an incredibly pitiful sound.
We normally take a break about halfway through. We're over halfway through. Let's take a 10-minute break there to get a snack, have a piss, whatever it is you need to do. And then we'll be back. So 10 minutes. And then the climax at the vault. All right. See you on 10 minutes.
All right.
hopefully everyone's back.
Yep.
See, if several of you say yep
I'm
at
here.
the same time, I can't differentiate, and then I have no idea whether everyone's back or not.
I'm here. I sat through that horrible music, by the way.
Good.
That was eye-wateringly bad.
Here I is.
I mean, I could always play something worse.
Can you? I mean,
Yeah,
is there?
You'd really have to work at it to find one.
Could have just done some endless taiko drumming
I
instead.
mean, just say, what was
That would have been
the kind of
improvement, I think.
D'Souza march played on the xylophone?
Yeah. It seemed suitably whimsical.
And bombastic all at the same time.
Yeah. All right. We were late starting, and it's going to be getting on towards midnight for those of us in the UK. So let's speed up and simplify slightly. All right. So, what are we doing with Hugo's cart, which can no longer be pulled by a swamp donkey?
I guess we're just leaving it there. I'm assuming that my gear is everything I can carry. Well, other than the donkey and the cart, but everything else I can carry, right? So yeah.
All right.
There.
So I want to verify the bug repellent didn't do shit.
Well, I mean, none of them attacked you in melee. You could equally take that as it working.
Yeah, but then I had to wade through them and work my way. They didn't like part before me.
No, they didn't recoil from you.
All right. Well, yeah. I know who I'm paying a visit to later.
It's like that old joke. This guy walking through the parks is a homeless man just windmilling his arms. So I asked him, why are you doing that? It keeps the UFOs away. But there aren't any UFOs. You see, it's working.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the thing about shark repellent is if it doesn't work, you can always get your money back, right?
Survivorship bias. Yeah. If you're not eaten by sharks.
Yeah.
If you fail to save the universe.
But really, though, is it better to be eaten by sharks or electrocuted? That is the question on 300 million people's lips, right?
Yeah.
Yes, every day.
Can electrocute you.
Well, more people die from being killed by cows than any other animals. So.
Moo moo, moo moo.
Chances of getting killed by a cow are higher than there are of getting killed by a shark. So just keep that in mind.
Yes, but I'm
Or
sure
a bear, mind you.
Yeah, the bears too. No, not that conversation.
What, the chance of a bear being killed by a cow is...
Yeah.
No, donkeys. So that's the deal with donkeys. I'm looking at raising donkeys because people now use them to protect their crops from, their livestock, chickens, small animals, from coyotes in the United States. Donkeys will decide this is their place, and woe unbe to you, O coyote or bear.
Let us know how you get rich first: writing TTRPGs or breeding donkeys.
It depends on the crops he's growing.
Bueno. But I live in New York right now. But I would, so
urban
it can be any
donkeys.
crop.
Keep thieves away. Watch out, he's got a donkey. Anyway, so you make your way past the stone circle, leaving the screaming noise of the donkey being devoured behind you. After about an hour's more tramping through the swamp into the afternoon, you catch sight through the somewhat thinned out trees of what is presumably the vault. It's a great, ugly, square brick of a building with a little sort of lean-to shanty built onto the side. On one side of it is a great big iron-bound door of seasoned and aged swamp oak, and in front of the door, sort of sheltered slightly by a stony overhang, are a pair of orcs sitting on old three-legged stools and playing some version of knucklebones or dice or something.
Okay, hit point re-up. How does that work again? Says the
At a
guy with
rest.
the hit point.
So yeah, if you take a half hour or so to rest, you can heal 1d6 hit points or 2d6 if someone makes a healing roll on you. Does anyone have healing?
I do.
I do.
Cool.
Who's got the highest?
Probably him.
I have 14.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so roll your healing skill.
So we're taking a rest then?
Yeah. Makes
7.
sense.
7 under 14.
Okay, so Ludwig can heal 2d6 health.
Awesome. 2.
Better than nothing.
I'm going to meditate to get some of my willpower back, or whatever you do to do that.
Yeah.
If it's a stretch rest where he can actually heal hit points, you can also recover a d6 willpower points and heal a condition of your choice.
Yeah.
Which, in my case, I'm going to heal my anger.
Yes. You have time to chill out, and Kronk can have back d6 willpower.
I'm assuming my wolf can get a d6 hit points back too.
Yes.
Cool. 6.
Ooh, 6. Good deal.
Right. The orcs don't seem to have noticed you. They seem rather intent on their game, and it's not like many people are going to wander successfully past the spiders and interrupt them. So
Well, now we could have used the donkey and the cart because we could have just driven right up and told the orcs, yeah, we're here.
Okay, now we're going to see how I can come into my own. I shall begin to put on my disguise to be a distraction.
Okay.
So what you see is that I open up my haversack and begin to apply makeup and a wig and women's underclothes and a beautiful dress. And now I look at a blonde wig. Now I look like a floozy. And I'm going to go distract these orcs who are here horny and all alone. And you guys can then, do the big muscle part.
He makes a handsome woman.
I'm practicing this. This is like,
they're into ducks.
Well,
When in Rome.
Why are there so many half orcs, right?
So is there any further
Those are
plan?
racist now.
Is there any further plan besides you distracting them?
I'm gonna.
What I'll do is I'm gonna hold on to the perfume though, so I have it available as a impromptu weapon to hit them in the face with, and maybe blind them or overwhelm their senses so that they are at some sort of disadvantage.
But once you've distracted them, what is the plan further for everyone else?
Right. I'm just.
What does the building look like?
Wild's going to go ahead and hit him with a rock.
And I will fire an arrow.
There's a wooden building that can be burnt down. I remember hearing something about burning down buildings.
Yeah. So it's a big square cube of a building, leaning slightly to one side. And on one side of it, there is a little wooden lean-to sort of shack, presumably a sort of guard headquarters for the orcs.
What's the main building made out of?
The main building is made out of reclaimed stone, but it's been here a while because there are creepers and vines growing over it. Climbing it would be a piece of piss.
You said it's leaning to one side?
Very slightly, but noticeably.
I go to the corner that's lifted up. If it's leaning to one side, one corner will be lifted. And wait for these guys to start their show.
Okay. So, do you have sneaking?
Nope.
Hmm?
See if it looks like
but they're not really paying attention. So use your base Is it agility?
Well, isn't like me being a distraction supposed to help all these
Yeah.
people who can't be sneaky?
It will
Get
be.
into
Are you
position?
all gonna sneak around the building, out of sight? Yes. No. Bananas.
So it was my agility.
Okay. So you got the distraction and the great big building in the way. So everyone make sneaking or appropriate statistic rolls. You can roll 3 dice and take the best result.
If Wild is still preparing his rock, I'm still preparing to shoot.
Yeah, you can have it ready, so you'll get
Yeah.
a surprise turn if anything goes pear-shaped.
Yep.
All right.
Should I be using persuasion or bluffing as a distraction?
Probably bluffing to distract them. But
Gotcha.
And we're rolling 3 dice?
3 dice and take the best result.
Wow.
I got a 3.
Advantage. Dragon.
10 on 10, 11 over 10,
Dragon.
17 over 10.
You've rolled a lot of ones.
Well,
Oh, 2.
3 dice.
Between you, I mean.
Just fun to yell dragon.
It is fun. Or demon. Yeah. So far, nobody's rolled demon, I don't think. But.
So everyone succeeded?
Yep, I got a 3.
Did Hugo succeed? I didn't.
He did. Yep, with a 5.
Okay. So you wait while Ludwig hitches up his skirts and sachets seductively towards the orcs in his spotless disguise. The rest of you creep around and very slowly make your way through the mire to the rear side of the building, out of sight of the orcs. As Ludwig gets close, the one orc looks up, looks confused, tilts his head to one side, pokes his friend in the shoulder. What's that? Looks like
Smiles coquettishly.
It's a fucking duck in a dress.
They're definitely distracted. They get up from their stools and put their hands on their weapons. You lost.
I am. I am completely lost.
Ain't we supposed to kill anyone that finds this place? Technically, what's that mean? By the rules? Okay. What have I told you about them long words? Yeah, I know. What are we gonna do with her, though? I don't know. Find out what's going on. Where you meant to be?
Wherever there's a party.
The orc just looks even more confused. You can practically see the brain cells falling out of his ear. Party?
You know, a good time.
Jim, is there a wasp nest anywhere nearby? Perhaps a viper?
No, there is no wasp nest nearby. There is, however, a large papery hornet's nest attached to the side of the building in amongst the vines.
That'll work. All right. I'm gonna throw a wasp nest at him, or a hornet's nest at him.
Okay, make a bushcraft roll not to be repeatedly stung while moving the nest.
Do. Oh yeah, there we go. It's just barely made it. It's an 11 under 12, but yeah.
Okay.
Hurl it at an enemy within 10 meters.
Are the rest of you going to follow along and get into position to attack?
Yeah. Can I? The building is inhabited, or does it look kind of empty?
You can't see inside. It's got no windows, no arrow slits, nothing.
All right. Yeah. I'll just find a bush, crouch in, and take aim.
Okay, so you creep around to the edge of the building, covered slightly by the foliage and the vines, and draw a bead on the orcs. All right. So
What if we're able to kind of skirt around and come at the building from the rear? Now I know you said there was a large, sort of very durable door
yeah,
where we were from the direction we were approaching it from, but just being passingly familiar with more successful merchant capitalists than myself, I do sometimes wonder whether these doors are put there as MacGuffins. So I'm just going to see if I can see if there's any sign of a secret or concealed door else on the other walls of the structure.
make a spot hidden roll.
Okay. And that is unlikely to be a success on an 18, is what that is. So yeah, fail. No.
Yeah, very unlikely. Yeah, no, that looks like he's gone for the straightforward approach.
Okay.
Okay. Creep with the others. You all get into position.
Yes. Shall I get the rest of my attack out of the way?
Yes. So surprise actions. Everyone can make an attack on the orcs. Let's start with the hornets, though.
Okay, so the hornets hit for 2d6 damage and gives them Bane on all actions for a shift.
2d8 damage because they're hornets, not wasps.
Oh, Jesus. One moment. 15.
Okay. -1 for armor is 14.
No, armor has no effect.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Never mind then. So yeah, you all creep around, get into position. Artem carefully draws his bow so it doesn't make too loud a creaking noise. Hugo holds his sling ready. Kronk intonates his magic ready to hurl flames or whatever at these things. And meanwhile, Ludwig is flirting at these orcs who are getting progressively more and more confused. Party? What? Orc party very different. Orc party very, very different.
The hornet's nest sails over and smacks them.
Yeah, and then a huge papery hornet's nest sails through the air and hits into them, and a cloud of grubs and hornets erupts from the shattered remnants of the nest and engulfs the orcs.
Told you I was going to use these.
Ludwig has to hitch up his skirts and run backwards to get out of the cloud of hornets. The orcs scream, claw at their faces, which are rapidly covered in puffy welts. And they make it about 3 steps away from the door and then collapse face first into the swamp muck.
Wow.
What? Holy smokes.
With that cue, I cast pillar 12 feet tall underneath that corner of the building where it's lifted up. I make a
nice.
Oh, that was going to ask if anybody was big enough to run and hit it and knock it over. That's even better.
All right, pillar.
Go, Kronk.
That's clever. I like
it. Wait. Pull the lever, Kronk. Wrong lever.
I got a 314.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so as the hornets dissipate, Kronk intones the last few syllables of his magic and makes a sort of upward gesture. An enormous great pillar of stone lurches up out of the swamp with a sound like God himself farting and lifts up the corner of the building. Floor and bricks fall away, and there's now a big gap. It's almost like one of those box traps you might have set, is what it looks like now. But yeah, you can access the interior of the building bypassing the door completely.
What do we see inside?
Whatever it is, pretty surprised.
Are there 2 guard orcs gone?
They're dead. The hornets killed
them.
All
right.
The hornets killed them.
I didn't expect it to be that deadly.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, Wild just kind of looks over at Antrim and shrugs, like, damn.
Swamp water is now pouring in through the broken sides of the building, and inside what was previously the floor of the building, there's like a little sort of step down and a shallow pit, which is full of coins and papers and boxes and so on. Still attached to the inside of the building on one of the walls are paintings, mostly of the mayor, and a few other items that are framed for presentation.
Jackpot.
So now that wait a minute. So there's a depression in the floor, like a pit with just
it's almost like a Roman baths. The sort of step
Gotcha.
down as if there's a pool, and that pool is full of coins and paperwork. And
okay. And so now that there's all this water rushing in it as well, do we notice like the presence of water draining anywhere that might indicate some sort of trap doors or other nefarious devices?
The water does seem to be draining deeper into that pool than it should. And there are bubbles coming up and sort of filtering through the coins and breaching the surface.
Wow. What does that mean? Anybody? Bueller?
Soap, limestone, because that would do it, right? Or what's that stuff? T-shirt. The Egyptians would use it. It was like soap-like stuff that washed up on the soaps on the Nile.
Oh, damn, not diorite.
Remember it.
So would myths?
But I'm not making this
Silt.
up, right? Silt. Yeah, silt. That's what I was thinking.
Acrobats, awareness. Spot hidden. Does my spot hidden skill help me determine what's going on with this water drain?
If you want to approach and examine the pit, yes. Otherwise, can Hugo make either an awareness or a bartering roll, please? Whichever.
If I think there's an animal under there, I can get a beast lore, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just let me know.
10 under 14.
Okay. All these coins, despite the amount that they're glittering, they're all copper coins. You were expecting there to be gold or silver here. I mean, there's thousands upon thousands of them, but they're copper coins. But weirdly, they're all untarnished and look brand new, which they shouldn't, even if they've been held here.
How do we roll to disbelieve?
Yeah, I was thinking, is this?
Poke it with a stick and say, "Are
Is
you?"
that my awareness?
Can you? Yes, if you are approaching to examine it more, you can make your spot hidden roll.
All right.
Is there any mechanical implication for playing to your weakness?
Oh, joy. Well,
No.
the first demon has been rolled.
Somebody had to.
Okay, so Ludwig creeps over closer to the pit while the rest of you sort of stand by, looking at it suspiciously. The water continues to drain into the pit, and bubbles continue to make their way to the surface, jangling the coins. Upon very close examination, Ludwig decides that there is nothing suspicious about this pit whatsoever. You turn to the others to say, "Don't worry, it's perfectly safe."
Yeah.
As you finish that sentence, a great big long tentacle bursts out of the coins and whips at you. You take 2 hit points of damage and are knocked away from the pit.
Boom.
Now, can we have a beast law roll from Wild, please?
Yes. I got an 18, so I have no idea what this is.
Do you want to push it?
Can anyone else try?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I
don't have beast lore.
Yeah, I do.
I will. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yours is probably better than mine.
7 under 14.
Yeah.
Rather than you pushing it and weakening yourself. It's a bogtopus. You thought they were extinct.
Okay, is anybody in there?
Nobody's in there apart
the
from.
In the room?
Yeah,
Did I get knocked out of the room?
No, I'm
Yeah,
saying,
you got knocked away. Yeah.
so no one's actually inside there?
No.
The pillar that I have holding the building up, can I
Yeah.
negate it, or is it permanent once it's there?
Let me see. That's a very good question. Spells, not mentalism. Elementalism. Pillar. Spell raises a pillar 3 meters high and 1 meter wide. Doesn't say how long. Oh, duration, 1 shift. But you could cast Shatter on it.
Yeah, that was my second thought. I just want to know if I could just dismiss it, though.
Doesn't look like it. I will double check by looking up duration. Yeah, it's not a concentration one. Yeah, so it lasts a full shift.
So I yell at everyone to get back, and I'll touch the pillar and cast Shatter.
Wait,
Okay.
why are
You
we
wanna-
doing? Wow.
Because I'm going to drop all those stones on
I'm
top
gonna
of
run
us.
away. Yeah, I'm running. Woo.
Yeah. Do you want to wait for it to move and come after you, or do you just want to drop the building?
I'll wait till it starts coming up, but then, like dropping a mouse trap on it, right? Because I made that pillar 12 feet tall. That's going to be a long fall for all the walls.
True.
Okay.
Then we're also burying all the gold.
Well, we can deal with that later. I don't want to die.
You can always cast pillar again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this horrible thing in mind where he just keeps casting and uncasting pillar over and over and dropping it up and down on this thing, squishing it.
Okay, right. So it hauls itself up out of the coins on its tentacles and starts pulling itself after you as you fall back and regroup around Ludwig. And then Kronk just reaches out with his pinky and touches the stone and utters the word of shattering. The pillar explodes, showering the bog octopus with fragments of stone that cut and bite deep into its flesh. And then the whole vault falls down on it, snipping off half of its tentacles. And from inside you hear a very muffled sound like a wet balloon being sat on. Or someone farting on a cake.
Come on now, don't bring your fetishes into this.
That's like my anti-fetish.
All right.
Well,
All right, so on the backside, then there has been this wooden structure attached to this building.
that
What
has
happened
been
to that?
thoroughly. Yeah, it kind of fell into the building and got crushed when it fell down as well, as did the 2 sleeping orc guards from the night shift who were in there.
That's kind of what I thought. Right.
From the remnants of the lean-to, Artem's little boat floats out into the swamp.
Woo! Go grab your boat, man.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah.
Let's load it up.
The orcs have painted it red and added a spoiler.
Oh, red ones go
Go
faster.
faster.
The fall has also sent great big cracks up through the vault and half broken the door, so you're able to get access. Yeah, it's not his hoard of gold. It is all copper coins. Maybe it's meant to be a distraction or something. There's also a few weapons in here that he keeps there. A single copper coin kept in a nice glass frame, which is labeled the source of my wealth. As a set of bagpipes, a morning star, a broadsword, all very fine quality. And what appears to be a magical arcane tome, which is how he enforced all of his contracts, most of which are now dissolving in swamp water anyway.
Well, I'm going to put that copper piece in my pocket there. The source of all his wealth.
Yeah.
Cut down some of these paintings while we're at it.
Yes, they're probably worth something as well. More than the coins, but you can pile up as many coins as you can. It's about 50 kilos of copper coins.
That's
in there.
insane.
Yeah, it's like 20,000 copper coins, plus the weapons, everything else. But while this is probably not the bulk of his wealth, if you consider that's probably about 200 gold pieces worth of copper, still a good haul, just hard to spend, very annoying for whoever you pay with the coins.
No,
But,
no. It's worse than that. We can't show up back in town with kilos of coin. No. We
might
need
be time
to
to blow town.
Well, no. What we need to do is
Set
split
the
it
business.
into multiple places and bury it and come and get it at intervals so it's not obvious all this stuff is brought in at once.
What
I
about
don't-
the tavern owner? We could work something out and filter the money through him.
Launder
And-
the
yeah.
copper.
Restaurants are one of the best laundering operations out there. As
got
a
a story, but
professional
it's too
chef,
long to
I'm
tell.
letting you know this is a real world fact.
No, I had a roommate who was a chef, and I've got a story. It's too long to tell though.
Considering what the alchemist charged us for his potions and everything, that's probably a better source of laundering because nobody would believe that he wasn't rich with the kind of money he's charging.
Restaurants.
Yeah,
and
but we
modern
don't know
art,
that
great
he's
ways to launder.
dependable. We know the bartender or the barkeep is.
With you piled into Artem's little flat-bottomed punt boat and deciding and bickering on what to do with the money and where to go and how to deal with the problem you've created. The curtain draws as you sail off into the darkness. Right. That will do for our adventure tonight. What did people think of Dragonbane?
I liked it. I thought the system was pretty straightforward. Picked up on it very quickly, and playing a duck, yeah, whatever. I'm a sneak thief, no matter what. I'm an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter.
T-shirt, did it live up to your desires? We were a bit short of time because we started late, but
Yeah. Not as much fighting as I was hoping for to kind of really test out the combat system, but yeah, I like it overall. I think the skill system is pretty easy and straightforward. There's no hit point bloat. All the skills and abilities still feel kind of special, and there's actually a whole lot more races to choose from. Like I said, my original thought was to pick an ogre, and I almost kind of wish I'd gone with that because having a big brute with the party would have been funnier. But yeah, I like it. I think it's honestly a lot better than a lot of the other 6 stat systems.
yeah, the monsters hitting automatically is a bit, especially if it's a powerful attack. Because starting characters certainly don't start out with that many hit points, so
It feels like a very stingy action economy for players.
Yeah. I think I'd probably house rule that you can use either or both your action and your move action to defend yourself.
So explain the auto hit. Is that auto damage as well? Then, right? So it's just monsters point, boom, you're taking damage.
Yeah. So
And
every
so
turn,
your only options are to have a lot of armor, which I didn't see come into action, or to always have to basically always go last, so you always have an evade available.
yeah.
Because that's when I was thinking about tactics. That's what I was thinking about. Was
Yeah,
should I
that's
go all the way at the end for that reason?
that's the thing in a lot of systems is that you want to go first because you want to get your attacks in and so on. There are other systems where it pays off to go later because it gives you the time to size up the situation and figure out, whether you've needed to defend yourself or whatever. Let me try and find a relatively minor
Because I
monster.
almost changed my mind when I went and hid at the end of the combat. I almost said, you know what? No, I'm going to go with this role play thing and go attack. Because at that point, the way the actions were, it would have been to our
Yeah.
advantage.
So some monsters act the same way as characters, so they have skills and everything, and it works the same way as for characters. So they have to roll to hit and all the rest of it. Other monsters follow their own rules. So
That is an odd decision.
yeah, I mean, I kind of like it with the random tables because you never quite know what the creature's going to do, and it gives it an almost.
I think
sort of
GMs
computer
would
game
like it.
boss-like thing.
I think GMs like it because it feels less adversarial because it really comes down to the GMs going, well, this is just the way it goes. I'm not actively attacking you or anything. It's just doing what the rules say.
This is why, of course, they use it in the Alien system for when the xenomorphs get kind of seriously beefy. Then those tables get really nasty for the same reason, I suspect.
Right,
Particularly if you're playing.
Yeah, so it's like, for example, a swarm of vampire bats. So ferocity 2, so they get 2 actions per turn. They only have 18 hit points, but that's a lot compared to a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And so on their turn, they roll d6 to see what they do for their attack. And so I just rolled a 3. So collective attack. The bats launch a joint assault on the player character with the highest constitution. The attack inflicts 2d6 slashing damage, and the victim suffers a fear attack, and the bat swarm heals the same amount of hit points from drinking their blood.
That's what's rough is the fact that not only do they out hit point most characters, but they also heal.
But
Yeah,
it's self-selected for the player character that was most likely to survive the attack.
Yeah, and there's lots of things like that. But some of the bigger creatures, like, say, a Minotaur. Okay, so despite being humanoid-ish, they don't act like humanoids, so they do get monster attacks. It's like Horn Rush. The Minotaur lowers its head and rushes towards 2 adventurers within 2 meters of each other, trying to impale them with its horns. Both suffer 2d8 piercing damage and are knocked down. So, that could be as much as 16 damage, which would be enough to take out most starting level characters, and knock down. So you're going to waste your action getting up, which is going to leave you vulnerable. So I think it's difficult to balance for early low-level characters.
So this is a level system. It's not.
It's not a request. It's not a level system.
No, it's. I just use level as shorthand, but where are the experience rules?
Well, so how do the PCs improve? I guess.
Presumably you just purchase extra skill ranks or
Okay.
attribute ranks.
Is it ranked
so
career?
it's kind of like BRP, Call of Cthulhu. When you roll a dragon or a demon when using a skill, you tick a little checkbox next to that skill. So if you really powerfully succeed or powerfully fail, you get a chance to advance that skill.
Oh yeah, what did you say this was based off of? RuneQuest.
RuneQuest originally.
Yeah. As you do things, you check off, and then it's been a long time since I played RuneQuest. Wow.
I love RuneQuest. I love Basic. That's one of the reasons why I was excited about this, because I was like, this is kind of like a outcropping of RuneQuest. This is like almost like it feels like a step between RuneQuest and something OSR, and it's in a good way.
Yeah. So also at the end of each session, you get to freely tick a number of boxes. So if you participated in the session, you can tick something. If you explored a new location, you can tick something. If you defeat one or more dangerous adversaries, you can tick something. If you overcame an obstacle by being cunning rather than using force, you get a tick. And if you
What if
gave
you're
into your
cunning and
weakness,
forceful?
well, then you get both, depending if it's a different situation. So then for each tick, you roll a d20, and if the result exceeds your current skill level, your skill goes up by 1. So it's a compressed scale version of BRP, but things go up. You can also get training for the cost of money or from other characters. And when you increase the skill level to 18, you get to access a new heroic ability of your choice. Or if you complete a grand heroic deed like overthrowing the evil sorcerer king or whatever, then you could access a new heroic thing.
Yeah, if we'd have overthrown the mayor, that would have probably gone that direction.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't particularly like class level systems, so I like that. I often reference BRP and its derivatives as being a good system for experience and how characters grow naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I think when I reviewed it, I said I think this is a great introductory RPG and better than a lot of the other stuff that's out there. And I think I stand by that. Just the simplicity of the rolling system, right? It's your skill. You roll a number of d20s, and that's how difficulty works. That's just really simple and graspable. It's kind of taking the advantage disadvantage mechanic and taking it to its logical conclusion, really.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the spell casting system, how it uses willpower points and how you can pause, or actually you can, take a break in the middle of combat in order to regain willpower at the cost of doing any actions. So it does keep mages kind of, good throughout the fights.
It reminds. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, it reminds me of Worlds Without Number, and that's the part that Worlds Without Number is missing. Is being able to recover your effort.
Yeah.
You can in here with the willpower. That I liked a lot, actually.
And cool. I also like how the weapon damages feel pretty robust, really.
Yeah, it's pretty fast and deadly. I do think that capability to defend yourself, I think you should. I think I would house rule it so that you've got your move and you've got your action. I would say you could use either to defend yourself. So you could lose half an action, so maybe you could turn your initiative card and then flip it if you use both. So that would just. I think that would insulate characters a little bit more from sort of random death, which is going to happen otherwise.
That's why it's either or, is because the actual mechanic involves a playing card, which is, of course, either side, one or the other. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And also, Wizards copyrighted the idea of tapping a card. So
yeah. It's one of the few.
Initiative can't. So when you've used it, you're supposed to flip it. But if we went and then that would solve that issue. So there's a few things I do, but I don't think it's essential. I think it's a good game. Maybe we'll run a longer thing sometime.
Yeah, I still think Fabula Ultima is better, but that's just a personal thing, just because I really, really loved Fabula Ultima. But this is really good.
Well, I guess I just don't understand the duck. I mean, this is... I'm not familiar with the setting and its original, so, it is peculiar that... so anthropomorphic animals attract some interesting folk in the world. So what kind of game is this?
I think it was, if it was RuneQuest, it was, I don't know if it was before that, because I don't know how far back Furry goes, but
Furry is forever.
I just from the throwing wasp nests or being able to throw a viper, I feel like there's a definite cartoony comedic tone here.
There is a certain amount of silliness. What's
Well,
the
that's why I
strap line?
put on the disguise. Is that I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is the time. Here it is. I went with the old Dostoevsky modem, even though it didn't come up in the first act. I read it in the very beginning. It's going to have to get used.
So the strap line is mirth and mayhem role playing.
Yeah.
So it's meant to have a slightly comedic edge. As to ducks, so we think this idea of civilized monsters is new, but it's not. It goes right back to very early RuneQuest, and part of the idea of that was that all these strange creatures and monsters and things could be playable or could be negotiated with. So ducks
Empire
were
of the
just
Petal
another
Throne.
yeah. Ducks were just another weird race like the dragon newts and other things that you could play or negotiate with. So yeah, it goes way back. Anyway, it's nearly midnight, so it's time to draw to a close. Next week's t-shirts game.
Mhm.
Yeah. Still the island survival thing.
Yes, settlement. Yeah.
Groovy. So we'll see people then. And good night, everyone.
Out.
See you later.
Right.
Bye-bye.